the power. The power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite.
Now, there's one thing you might have noticed I don't complain about. Politicians.
Governments don't live together, people live together. Governments, you don't always get a fair word or a fair fight. I've come here to give you either one, or get either one from you.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up,
T-minus 1 minute.
live out the true meaning of its creed.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
T-minus 50 seconds.
I am paying for this microphone, Mr. Every dollar released from taxation
T-minus 40 seconds.
that is spent or invested will help create a new job.
Chivalry is dead, and women killed it.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines.
T-minus 20 seconds.
We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing ground and in the streets.
10, 9,
We shall fight
8,
in the hills.
6,
We shall never surrender!
3, 2, 1, 0.
Problem Solver Politics live stream. I am your host, Carden Ellis, and we are live in the Problem Solver Politics studio. Ready to have an absolutely awesome live stream with you guys. We're really excited to kick this off. And we got all kinds of crazy topics to talk about. And once again, in case you're wondering if we do this live, there's your answer right there behind me. There's Cody the Oracle, just making sure we look top-notch and prepared. So let's get this going. I am your host, Carden Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey everyone, how you doing?
And also helping us out very much today is my lovely wife, Brittany. She's actually here, and she's going to be helping us moderate the chat and do some of the other things because we've got a pretty cool surprise for our audience. You know, Santa's Claus came to town, 2 episodes ago? And today, Santa Claus came to town with some really cool. I don't want to give it away, so I'm gonna defer to Cody's wisdom for when we just let people know. But Cody, tell us, what are we talking about today? It's been a big 2 days.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the kind of biggest news coming down, we've been, I guess, ever since Yang hit that last poll he needed, we've kind of just like, I don't know, just kind of like, okay, debates are coming. Well, debates are coming very soon now. They're basically here. So, what I wanted to look at is something that is kind of, I guess, the latest news around the debates, and that is, someone mentioned in chat already, they announced the podium placement for the now one-night debate There was talk it would be a 2-night debate if they had 11 candidates qualify, and I think it was only Tom Steyer was one qualifying poll away from actually making it a 2-night event. However, as it stands, it'll be a 1-night. Sorry, so make sure we can read everyone's name. And here we go. So this is where the debate participants. I almost said debaters. It sounds wrong. The debate participants will be standing on this debate.
I got a question for you, Cody, and this is purely a scientific kind of a psychological question because you are indeed the oracle. Okay, but I'm looking at this and I just realized, oftentimes when we do things, there's kind of this assumptive sale that happens. If you read Malcolm Gladwell, okay, he's got this great book called Outliers and the Tipping Point, and in Outliers, one of the things that he points out was he looked at the Canadian national hockey team and he noticed something about their birthdays, that they all were born in January, February, March, or April. In fact, there was only one that wasn't born in the first 4 months of the year. And he thought, gosh, why is that? It's not like, only kids born in the first trimester actually want to play hockey in Canada. It's like football down here. But what he found when he started digging and doing the math was that at an early age, if you're the oldest in a class, you are going to be not just physically larger, but because of your larger physical stature, you're going to be more mature, and you're going to be playing better than the kids that are 6 months younger than you, even though you're both in 5th grade, in 6th grade, and in 7th grade. And what that's going to do is it's going to make the coaches focus more on you, which is only going to increase your advantage that you have in the sport, so much so that you will become the great 7th grader that all of a sudden the 8th grade coaches are looking at and then putting all of their preseason energy into, their season energy into, and then the postseason energy into. And there's this massive advantage to being born early in the school year so that you have that age advantage over the rest of your peers, right? That's why even nowadays, big-time football families, this is kind of almost gross in a way, but they'll purposefully withhold their children 1 semester or 1 year. Have you heard of that? When there's a freshman football star that's really good, they'll take him out and send him to some Christian academy for a year just so he can come back as a sophomore that is basically 11 months older than all of the other sophomores, so there's a better chance of him getting a scholarship, right?
Not really.
Oh, yeah. I know 2 players that it happened to at my high school.
Okay, but I'm just saying that it's not like a widespread. Because I know a lot of players, for example, there's the inverse. Well, you can look at maybe specifically football, but I've also seen players go play community college a year early, play at a community college for 2 years, so they can get to college quicker, so they can get to the NFL quicker. That's the other angle. The more time you spend playing for free, the higher your likelihood of getting injured playing for free is. Okay, so this is the only reason why I bring this up, and I ask a scientific question about this, is because does us perpetually putting Joe Biden and the people that are already kind of at the top of the polls have a reaffirmation effect where does it subconsciously seed that this person is the winner of the debate by putting him in the middle of the stage, just like the person sitting at the head of a table is subconsciously perceived as the wisest just because of our Western European cultural heritage in terms of table placement? No, I mean, at the beginning, maybe, but then the debate happens, and we watch the debate, and we have eyes, and we decide who performed well. Because you could look at the debate and say, I'm not going to look at this orientation and say, wow, it looks like Julian Castro is poised for a big showing. But if he has one, at the end of the night, no one's going to even really remember. They'll say, oh, it was kind of odd how he was off to the side, but that'll be it. It'll basically be that. Wasn't that weird? He was on the side. Anyways, he had a great debate and probably won it. So you don't think there's any advantage to the physical placement on the physical debate stage? Oh, there's an advantage, but I wouldn't say it's like a psychological advantage for the viewer. I'd say it's a literal advantage because people have to talk over you, and people are talking across you. It just increases the likelihood you'll be able to interject. And or at least you're kind of always a part of the conversation because it's going over you, and it's easier for you to kind of make your presence known. But still, even if we're just looking at Joe Biden stand in the middle of the stage and not say much and meekly defend himself, and then Amy Klobuchar goes on a couple of big rants to take off, people will say she won the debate. All right, so before we start reading and acknowledging these super chats, should we make the announcement now or no? What do you say? Well, I don't know. Now you got me thinking because the way you worded that. Yeah, I know, because we got to start acknowledging these super chats, and we want to give people their chance, right? So should we tell them now that we got these? I don't see a super chat. Yeah, you're looking at the wrong chat, dude. You got the wrong stream open.
Oh, crap. I got the wrong stream open. Okay, well, either way, should we just tell him right now? Because I kind of just basically ruined it. Because I'm an idiot. Okay, cool. Without any further ado, guys, this is super cool. Can you hand me a couple more, if you don't mind? It's official, but we finally got them. They're here. And it's a limited edition Problem Solver Politics hat.
Why are you holding it like that?
Well, just so they could see the cool logo. Look, I worked hard on this, getting it all digitized, getting the right hats that had the structured bill, so not the kind that is unstructured, like the math hats. I like the structured bill. Like, this is a legit high-quality hat, okay? And I'm very, very proud of this accomplishment, and it freaking took long enough to get this pipeline down, all right? So, Cody, how are we going to let these things go, brother? Tell our audience.
Well, we're just going to say for hanging out with us tonight, guys, being here when we do them. I think we only have about 50 or so. So we'll have some available for sale probably in the next day or so on our website. But for anyone watching the stream tonight, if you do a $25 super chat, just give us your address. We'll send you a hat. And if you do a $30 super chat, we will assign the hat for you. And then same thing. Give us your address. We'll send it to you.
So we got our Sharpies ready. We're going to sign the limited edition hat. If you give us $25, you get a hat. If you give us $30, then you're actually going to be able to get it signed by us live. And don't put your address in the actual super chat. We really like you guys.
Yeah, we'll reach out later.
Yeah, we'll reach out later. We'll find you. Trust us.
Hold on. So I want to get back to
let's keep going.
Let's get back to the debate. So aside from the fact that, yes, we have Biden, and I do think the more I'm watching this campaign kind of play out and roll out, Warren is the one to watch of all the front runners. Bernie, I mean, here, if you guys, I don't know, I know numbers can be volatile like this, guys, but like, holy cow, I've been keeping my eye on the aggregates from the website, and this is something that was fascinating me. I was just paying attention to over the last maybe week or so. There was a steady drop in polling data for basically all of the front runners. But you'll notice right here at the very, very end of it right now, Biden had a couple very strong polls, but, where did it come from? And you notice it came from Bernie Sanders. So I just wanted to bring that up around the kind of looking at where they're standing on the stage. And because you look, and we have Bernie Sanders standing right next to Joe Biden in the middle of the stage, but the more this goes on, the more I see the Bernie Sanders support wane. The Biden support's just kind of there because if you support Biden now, like, I don't see what would change your mind really. I support Joe Biden. I don't know what he's done to earn your vote, so I don't know why you change your mind either.
Yeah.
But now we have to get down to, so we've talked about the front runners, because really, if you guys looked at the latest polls, it's kind of two tiers right now: Bernie, Biden, Warren, and then Harris, Yang, Buttigieg, Booker, Castro. That's kind of like the second tier. And then Klobuchar and O'Rourke are kind of out of it. And you look, and of those things, you look right here on the flank, who's flanking the big three? It goes Buttigieg, Harris, and then Yang and Booker. And they're the ones that I think are that second tier candidate. Harris is trending down, and then continue to trend down. Buttigieg he hasn't really lost any gains he's made, but there hasn't been that big moment where Buttigieg shot up 8 points. He's kind of he's gained people. I don't know a ton about him, to be frank. All my friends who like him, or people I know who like him, always say he's very smart. I'm sure he is very smart. But there's just not a whole lot more where he has had that big moment where I'm like, whoa, Pete Buttigieg, that's what this guy's about, and he jumps in the polls. And so I really think the guy who's moving up in the polls, the guy who is doing better now than he was 3 or 4 weeks ago, a month ago, and you look at this thing, and currently today, we have Andrew Yang at 2.5%, the highest he's ever been on this aggregate.
Wow.
And like I said, here's the top three: Biden, Sanders, Warren, and then Harris at 7, Buttigieg at 4, Yang at 2, Booker at 2, O'Rourke at 2. That's about it. So it's really interesting seeing how it's breaking down like that.
I just wish Delaney were higher.
Shout out John Delaney.
I just feel for him, and he seems like a nice guy.
Great shape, really rich.
So I hate to see him struggling like that.
Anyway, at the same time, though, like I said, he's in great shape and he's rich. So
Holistic Hottie says Buttigieg puts me to sleep.
I mean, he hasn't had that big moment where people are like, "Whoa, cool, Pete Buttigieg, this is awesome." I haven't seen that thing where he jumps up at anywhere. It's been a lot of. I know people. He's really smart. He's really great. He has some really good ideas. I'm like, I guess, but. Again, I'll just show you guys where he's been on the polling data. He is that purple line there that, he had that moment where it went from who the hell is Pete Buttigieg to, oh, this is who he is. And he had about 9%. And you look at him today, he's a 4.6, so he's fallen since, but he really hasn't. You don't see the volatile Kamala Harris. All of a sudden, she spikes, doubles her percentages, and then atrophies over the next few months. He hasn't had that. It's just kind of atrophied in the last, since like the campaign started, and just about everybody went up. So I do, like I said, if you look at who's trending up, Andrew Yang not that long ago was barely at 2%, and now he's on his way to 3%. So interesting stuff.
All right, awesome. We got our first super chat from Martin the Panda. And guess what you're getting, Martin? Where'd it go? Where's Martin's hat? It's right here. Oh. Martin's the first one. You get a cool hat. Should we put... Oh, yeah. We got to do something to delineate that this is our first hat. This is actually a channel first, bro. We actually unloaded some merch.
Sure.
Holy smoke. All right, Martin, the Panda. This is for you, bro. You've got a question. Hey, hit us up with a question. If you got one, just include it in the super chat. That is awesome. Thanks a lot, Martin.
Oh, and then shout outs to Alec Taylor, $5 super chat. Hey guys, first time participating in chat. I watch all your videos and love your contribution to the Yang Gang. Thank you very much, man. Keep up the great work. Thank you, man. Very much appreciate that.
All right. Hey, sweet. We've had 2 really nice softball super chats. Sometimes they come in with really heavy, deep, and philosophical questions, and it's just like, whoa, holy smoke, man. We gotta try and field this here. You know what I'm saying? So anyway,
But what do you think? Okay, what do you think, though, just based on this placement? I guess, is that your big takeaway, the fact that they have a Biden in the center? To me...
Well, I just want to know what's going through their heads. And this is oftentimes, as a media insider, somebody that has participated in hundreds of media productions, everything from really large international motion pictures to just, small things, podcasts, smaller than this, just audio podcasts for enthusiasts of niche subjects. It's interesting to know what's going through people's heads as they set it up. So I'm curious, coming from the perspective of, executive or a producer for the Democratic debates, I'm working there at ABC. I'm obviously going to, first duty is to entertain. What's going to be most entertaining? Okay, you got to make the set look good. You got to make sure you have a format that's going to highlight people. You got to make sure it's on a platform that tons of people can tune in from, that won't just get pirated, so on and so forth. But also, what is really going to bring out the most of all of these candidates in this kind of battle royale setting? Okay? And I'm just curious what they're thinking, especially in regards to Yang. I can see with Biden, put in the middle because he's like the symbolic and proverbial front runner, so he's going to be in the center of the show.
He's the literal leader in the polls.
Yeah, he's the literal leader in the polls. And the next one, we want to have the next couple of leaders and so on and so forth. So I get the physical placement, right? But how do you ask questions without it ending up being just like really bad? Like there's just... How do you not reveal overwhelming bias? Anyway, we got another super chat. Nate Johnson, you upsold the hat with good content. Also, Carden, I disagree on a few things, but have changed my mind on some issues. Thanks to you. Also, hey, Cody. Hey, you want to know what?
What's up, man?
Yeah, I really appreciate that, Nate. And I love it when people say you have changed my mind on some issues. Thank you also, hey, Cody. And I do have to say, I have had my mind changed on a couple of issues. One of the things we really, really love about this show and what we love about this new media that's coming out, okay? It's so important that we actually share these podcasts and we participate in long form. And part of the reason why we wanted so much to have these live streams, ability to interact with you guys, I got to tell you, having an awesome fan base for your channel is like having a hive mind. Okay, the amount of facts and knowledge and additional perspectives that are brought to our analyses of a subject with your guys' help on Twitter and the DMs and on the Discord chat and awesome is amazing. I love it. So anyway, we got to keep going.
You got to read this from Heidi Briones.
Wait, say it again.
On, dude.
You have to sign it, quote, "We love lesbians, though."
Heidi Briones, you have to sign it. We love lesbians, though. Oh, that's funny. Is your mic on? Oh, we got a little bit of a problema here. It's totally on the floor because it was taken off when I was doing the other one. You know what? Brittany will have zero problems with that because her college roommate and our best, dearest friend just had her twins with, are they married? It's her wife,
her
right?
wife. Yeah.
They're legally, yes.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we're going to write, we love lesbians on the hat. All right. All right. So for Heidi Briones, we love lesbians. I didn't think when I was starting this podcast that I would be writing we love lesbians. That's awesome. And Jeremiah Omens, thanks a lot, brother. Hat, please. So we got to autograph 2 of these really fast.
You have to write, we love lesbians.
Okay. We love lesbians. Oh, where am I going to write it that's not on the yellow bill? We're going to figure this out. I'm going to do it right here.
Yeah.
We heart. I'm even going to draw a heart. Lesbian. So anyway, Cody, keep going while I'm writing this.
Well, I guess I want to get your live reaction to it, but we'll spoil it, guys. So Andrew Yang, anyway. Andrew Yang has this kind of secret strategy for the debates, I guess. He's already kind of... I don't know if he's playing his cards too early. I don't know if he's kind of showing his hand, so to speak. But anyway, guys, this is what Andrew Yang has to say about the debates. This came out just a little while ago. He says 2 words for the next debate. Costume change. Is that what it's going to take for Andrew Yang to finally get some coverage? Is a costume change in the Democratic debate? What do you think, Carden? You think that'll be what it finally takes?
Is he going to wear the math hat? Not the math hat. Oh, well, no, it could be the math hat or the tie. The math tie. Remember how everybody made fun of me 2 chats ago for having ties? And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to talk to my embroiderer, and I'm going to make some kind of sick Make America Google Andrew Yang hat or Andrew Yang tie, and then see if they make fun of it then. You know, I think he could go for that. Either that or else just show up in shorts.
I want him to wear the cannabis hat.
Yeah.
That's what I want him to wear.
Where's this debate at? Houston? Houston? Is that play in Houston? I don't know. Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe,
that's
right?
funny. That's funny. Oh, that's funny. So, Stefan, yes. Stefan Lynn asked, just got here. We ordering hats on Super Chat? Yep. If you want a hat, it's only 25 bones. And if you give us 30, we'll actually autograph it on the stream for you. Right now, we're actually talking about the placement.
I think you have to get...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right here. There's the 2, bro. So anyway, right now we're analyzing Andrew Yang's text. 2 words for the next debate, costume change. I wonder how much of that is humor. I'm sure most of it is, 90% of it is. But I almost wonder if there's not something else that can be added. You know, like if people won't actually be looking for it now, Cody. You know, and it almost does make you wonder, should we just have like a business Friday? You know, or no, a business casual Friday. A casual Friday debate here in which people show up in what they wear casually. Which does beg the question, what does Andrew Yang look like casually? We're so used to seeing him in a light blue or a white shirt with a blue blazer on. I mean, I'm constantly
I can pull it up. You want to? Well, first of all, we've seen what he looked like 20-something years ago in 1992. We've seen that. This photo we pulled up of him. You know what? Give me a minute. I think I saw someone take a picture of him hanging out with Andrew Yang at like a pizza place earlier today. So I'll show you. You'll find out.
Okay, yeah. Whip that one up because I got to tell you, I'm actually kind of intrigued. We know what he looked like in high school. You know, he kind of had that almost like trench coat mafia Matrix 1990s look. You know what I'm saying? What? What's oh boy about that?
I don't think that's a good look. I'm more of like a Birkenstock kind of guy. You know?
Who knows? We couldn't see his shoes. But anyway, it was kind of cool seeing what he looked like as a high schooler. And he himself has actually said it would be, I don't think he actually said the first goth president. He didn't say that. What was the terminology that he used? I think it was goth, but yeah, he wasn't like, when I think goth, I think of like the black lipstick.
Elon Musk said that he would be our first goth president, and I think that's very important. I think that was the exact quote. Could be wrong. I think that was it.
Okay, but also, isn't that a little bit of a misnomer? Because when I think of goth, I think of like white face makeup and black lipstick, not just kind of into the dark brooding music.
Well, I mean, I would say like every subgenre, it's a very diverse group of people who make up the goth community.
All right, awesome.
Okay, look at this one from Alec Taylor. He said, "I think it would be a bad look if he dressed too casual." I don't think so.
For a debate, I mean, like you don't want to look on a debate stage like.
But then it's like he looks relatable, you know, like he's one of the people. I don't know. Trump surprised everyone with the way he acted. I think if Andrew Yang just went totally casual, I don't know. I think it might be good for him.
That would be so disrespectful to the
I don't think
DNC
it's
and
disrespectful.
the event. So if you have a
DNC
wedding,
is disrespectful.
if you have a wedding and a guy just shows up in like jeans and a t-shirt, I'm just being relatable. What's wrong, guys?
But that's like
know.
what they're doing nowadays.
Why'd you suckers get dressed up for the stupid wedding? I'm just being relatable. You know what I mean? Like I could see an angle where it's like, oh, look at the guy in the jeans who doesn't care. I mean, I remember Donald Trump saying about Jeb Bush, like the guy can't even wear a suit and tie and he wants to be president. Like when it comes to like media elite types, they ragged on him for not wearing a tie. He wears like shorts and like a polo. Oh my God, they kick him off.
Yeah, but I don't think people listen to DNC, do they? Do people actually listen to the DNC?
Well, he has to if he wants to be their candidate.
Huh. You know, that is a really good, interesting question that I think is largely dependent upon the generation you're in and what your perception of fashion and style is. The question is, strategically, would it advantage him or disadvantage him? And I guess you would have to look at the demographics. No matter how he's dressing, the gang loves him. So obviously he's not trying to appeal to that demographic. He would have to appeal to the demographic
What would he
he's
change it
struggling
to?
in.
So what would he? I think when I hear that,
What if he didn't wear like a suit coat, for example?
I could see him like taking off his shirt and underneath he has like an Andrew Yang shirt on. You know what I mean?
Okay, cool. I don't know how we got so far down this rabbit hole,
Neither do I,
but it's been
man.
a pretty awesome rabbit hole to go far down into.
I'm just thinking of Andrew Yang now.
You guys had a lot of. Oh, sorry. Phil, for 1 minute. I'm gonna pull up. You want to know what he looked like normally? I can show you. Just give me 1 minute.
Okay, well, I mean, we don't have to fill. We can actually just keep talking about, literally just.
Another word for it.
Well, I mean,
I'm just messing around.
we've had some. This is what I came to the chat wanting to talk about this and really just kind of dive into what I'm wondering can be done in this regard, because we have made now 3, in my ideas, pretty troubling podcasts concerning the media blackout of Andrew Yang. Okay. And it first started out with kind of just this general idea that, look, hey, you know, they're not really giving him as much attention as they should. And it was a little bit understandable because you had these big, you know, the big elephants in the room, no pun intended. You had the Joe Bidens, you had the Elizabeth Warrens, you had the Bernie Sanders, the ex-candidates, the political rock stars, and the vice president, okay? So in the beginning, you could kind of see why people weren't giving Andrew Yang attention. But all of these excuses really start running out, and in my mind have gone beyond what could be considered incompetence. The one CNN guy who's doing the analysis and his screen goes out and he's like, oh, my screen went out right before he hit Andrew Yang. Okay, I could see how that was just a little bit of, you know, technical difficulties. The MSNBC woman who was perpetually standing in front of Andrew Yang on the graphics behind the screen. Okay, that might be just, you know, artistic blocking, and he was the one who drew the short straw. But then we did the Twitter thread of Scott Santon's before our interview with Scott Santon's that just showed graphic after graphic after graphic after graphic after graphic after graphic, say that fast 5 times, in which you had the top 3 mentioned, but then it was just a cronyist smattering of other participants that never included. They were putting people that were polling at 1% on some of these graphics right next to the people who were the top 3 in polls, completely skipping over Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang, to such a point that you started saying to yourself, you know, this is overwhelming evidence, okay? I'd actually asked Scott Santon's in our interview, and that's one of the things we're going to talk about a lot in this live stream. For those of you that haven't watched it yet, make sure you download that and you set a reminder to watch that, because it was an intriguing interview. Scott Santon's is a genius of a man, obviously very emotionally intelligent, and dude, we would be total friends, man. He's a super cool guy. Scott, we'll hang out one of these times if we're ever down in New Orleans, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, Scott said something in industry. I asked him, I said, what data made it so that you actually finally believed and fully embraced UBI? And he said it wasn't one specific study or one specific country or one specific city that tried it in a pilot program, but it was the amalgamation of all the positive data that made him realize this actually, this cannot be brushed aside anymore. This has to be embraced full tilt. Okay. Well, for me, all of the small evidences of all of the biases against Andrew Yang have what made me believe that there is a legitimate bias against him, to a point now that I think you're not far off when you say hashtag Yang Media Blackout. Anyway, Steph and Lynn, both autographs on the hat, please. I'm going to sell it on eBay once you guys become nationally famous. And what happened with the Andy No incident? Be kind to each other, guys. All right. Actually, I think me and Cody are probably going to be 90% on the same page with each other. Here's your hat, my man. Stefan, we're signing it right now. I think me and Cody are going to be 90% on the same page with the Andy No incidents, actually, because both of us worked at a radio station, and we know what it's like to show up to breaking news. You know, we know what it's like to be showing up to some of these areas where something crazy is happening, and to be a member of the media that's trying to do your job. And both of us will always agree, never violence on the press. Okay? Like, no amount of violence or no amount of bias and exercise of free speech shall ever warrant having a brick thrown at your skull. Okay? And that's basically what happened with Andy No. And right now there's this curious phenomenon on the left. Sargon of Akkad did a takedown of David Pakman's coverage of Andy No today, because there's this new Twitter phenomenon of trying to besmirch him, which is why, strangely, he's all of a sudden gaining popularity again, even though his infamous incident in Portland was like almost a month ago now.
I believe late June.
Yeah, so the far left has this thing now where if they just can't laugh you off, there's that phrase that says, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win, right? Or whatever that phrase is. It seems like they've tried ignoring, and then now they're just skipping straight to character assassination. And it's a function of Twitter in the past week that is now starting to take off. So anyway, Stefan, that's my opinions. Andy No seems very credible, very kind of even.
The more I learn about him, I don't want to say he's like not credible, but
no, I believe he's an antagonist of Antifa. He admits that, though.
Not even that. He's just a biased media guy. Like I hear him phrase things, and I'm always like, that is like the most colored, biased, influenced definition. Nothing against it. I'm just, there's a lot of people in the media.
Okay, but do you think that
like
do you think that warrants having a
don't
milkshake
hurt
mixed
people.
with dry cement?
Don't hurt against other people. That's what I think. But I'm just saying that, like, I will admit,
Stefan's hat.
the more I've seen this kind of go on over time, I've just seen more interviews, and I'm like, oh, okay, I could see why some people are like, he doesn't seem credible to me. I wouldn't say he doesn't seem credible, but he definitely seems like he's another biased activist journalist trying to do what he thinks is right. You know, sometimes it's hard to see when they share a bias that you do, but he's just another biased journalist out there trying to do what's right. No one deserves violence. You shouldn't hurt people. Hurting people's wrong. I'm just saying that, like,
but there's an ethics in media that he follows that I appreciate, and I don't have a problem with you saying, look, my job, like, I follow Antifa and I document their offenses. Okay, fine. Like, obviously, if you're a watchdog, you're biased. Like, when I worked at Universal Studios, there were all these environmentalist watchdog groups that were constantly taking water samples from our discharge tubes, okay, to make sure that we weren't committing any kind of OSHA violations or any kind of, California Coastal Commission violations or whatever. They were watchdog groups. They were groups that were biased against entertainment corporations because, they were environmentalists, and that's what they did. Well, that's fine. As long as they're sticking to the rules, they're on public property, and they're measuring and video documenting the discharge from the NBC Universal, river discharge system. We all know the rules. You can't have a certain amount of particulates per million. You can't have a certain amount of oil or of whatever per million. And as long as all of us are sticking by the rules, then I'm okay with there being watchdog organizations. So if Andy No is a media watchdog of Antifa, okay, of the left, that's fine as long as he is adhering to certain journalistic criteria. And that journalistic criteria is, you retract poor stories, you don't report until you are confident, you cite your sources, so on and so forth. And Andy No follows that. I mean, you have to watch Sargon of Akkad's analysis of David Pakman's, quote, takedown of Andy No.
This is like,
and it is,
you know what? Hold on.
It's a master's class in what is journalistic integrity.
I don't need four people's opinions, man. Okay, like, I've seen him speak. I don't think he's a liar. I'm just saying he's another biased activist journalist. There's tons of them. He's one of them.
Okay, yeah, fine. So, well, the question was, what do you think about the incidents? And I think
violence is wrong. I think you shouldn't hurt people.
No amount of bias ever deserves that, and the left crossed a line on that. And unfortunately, there's people that are defending Antifa's actions against Andy No, and it's shameful. So anyway,
Yeah, violence is bad, dude. Don't hurt people.
Yeah,
I'm all for that.
That's a pretty. It reminds me of what's that Planet of the Apes remake that they did? What was the name of the bad ape where it's like rule number 1, no hurt apes? What was it? Come on, bail me out here.
I didn't see it. I don't know.
You know, the chat might have to help me out here.
I've never seen that movie.
But yeah, in the remake of Planet of the Apes, it was like one of the last 2 remakes. There's the code, kind of like the 10 commandments of the apes, and like the first rule is like, you know, apes don't hurt apes, and one of the bad apes violated that rule while like the humans didn't. So the apes got along with the humans for that section of the movie, and there's this scene at the end where the bad ape is getting held up by the leader ape, and then he ends up letting him go, and you know, it's this kind of cool moment in the film, right? So anyway,
you know what? Shout out to the sequel to called believe I looked it up. It was Escape from the Planet of the Apes. Very cool film. Oh no, I apologize. That's the wrong movie I'm talking about. Shout outs to Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Very interesting film. Big fan.
Okay, Unbreakable Wit says, would you guys like a Yang Tulsi card? We actually
talked about this a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, we actually did an entire video on that. What would an Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard card look like? Now, first off, you have to delineate which one would be the president, which one would be the vice president, because I think there's different strengths and different weaknesses in one being commander in chief, one being, you know, vice president, head of the House of Representatives, so on and so forth. Basically more diplomatic in their ventures. So I assume most people in the Yang Gang are assuming that Tulsi Gabbard would be VP. I think personality-wise, temperament-wise, great, awesome. Finally, 2 cool-headed people. You know, wouldn't that be kind of crazy? However, I just wonder strategically how much that would help out Andrew Yang, because Barack Obama said very famously that his best political decision he ever made, when he was asked once, what's the best political decision you ever made? He said, choosing Joe Biden to be my vice presidential running mate. Choosing Joe Biden as his VP, he said, was the best single political decision that he ever made. And I assume it's because of all of the fringe benefits that came with it. Not only did you have a seasoned veteran of the DNC, but you also had somebody who is well known in all of these circles when you're not. You're just a freshman senator from Chicago. Also, you bring the entire state of Pennsylvania and the 2 states around it, and that political influence. Those are big states that you need to win in the Electoral College. Meanwhile, John McCain is choosing kind of the media darling, Fox News darling Sarah Palin, which is great, but she brings Alaska with her. You know, she brings 2 electoral votes, the bare minimum. Meanwhile, Barack is choosing a seasoned veteran of politics that brings an entire state of Pennsylvania, like one of the more populous states of the Northeast, and all of their electoral votes with him. I wonder what the strategy politically would be of a Yang and Tulsi ticket. It is what it is. Says something really interesting. I like that. We need more famous people in the Yang Gang. Yes, we have actually talked.
We got a good deal.
Yeah, we do. They're not wildly vocal. One of the first ones is what? Nicolas Cage, right?
So he voted. I mean, he donated. Nicolas Cage donated early on.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage donated. A lot of people have talked about Casey Neistat and saying, we were talking about this with Daniel.
I think Casey Neistat was an extraordinarily vocal Hillary Clinton supporter in 2016. So I wonder what he will do with thing in 2020. It's a good point.
Yeah, and it just it kind of makes you wonder what is the strategy for a Casey Neistat not to come out. I mean, I could see where you're a conservative in Hollywood, maybe not wanting to come out for a while, you know, maybe until like the last minute or something like that, just because, you know, you might lose your job. But at least on the Democrat side, you know, nobody's going to be losing their job, especially not a YouTuber. So if you have a passion, why not vocalize it, especially for like a good candidate, you know, one that's so just not divisive. The thing I really appreciate about Andrew Yang is there's debate about UBI, and it's more like doubt about funding for some people, but you can talk substantively with these people. It's not an instantaneous knee-jerk reaction of, she's crazy, she lied about her college transcripts, oh, she
slept with the head of the Democrats in California for a first appointed position.
There's not
Are you
all of that
spoofing
mess
yourself
going
there?
on. What?
Are you spoofing yourself there?
Maybe.
I think I've heard you say both those things, but unironically before.
I think I
Touché.
just dug myself a hole there. But anyway, yes. The I think that would be a good thing. So anyway, keep going. I apologize for veering verbose, but I think more celebrities, yes, should come out. It's interesting. It is what it is. Just repeated saying Keanu Reeves would be nice. I think pretty much whoever Keanu Reeves endorses, would that swing you?
He would
110%.
Would you be swayed towards a candidate because Keanu Reeves voted for him?
Yes.
You would
I
be?
am not ashamed. No, I love that man.
Oh, that's hilarious. So I do wonder, though, to me it seems like he already has enough star power because I got to tell you, Elon Musk, you can't ask for a celebrity endorsement that insinuates you are a candidate of the future and you are an intelligent person that can engineer an economy and engineer not a society, but a government system. There's not a better endorsement than freaking Elon Musk. I mean, he revolutionized how we pay for things. If you want to contribute to our channel,
Is that good or bad?
well, PayPal. What do you mean was it good? It
PayPal's good.
added.
PayPal's good.
You may not remember this, but I remember when the internet first came out and the
boomer.
possibility of internet commerce really started becoming an actual thing. There was a huge worry about, well, crap, you'd hear these news reports of people that would peddle false stuff, get people's credit card numbers, drain them. There was a lot of fraud in the early internet days. So there were entire stores that should have closed, I swear, a decade earlier than they did, that simply stayed open because people were afraid, especially the boomer generation, of authorizing payments with their credit card online. There was even banks that would give you individual credit card numbers for one purchase. Okay. And they would rotate these credit card numbers. There was all these like kind of systems that every organization tried to generate in order to facilitate online commerce until PayPal happened, where there was just this way where you could sign up. It was known to be foolproof. It was known to be credible, and it had a back end where you could get a refund if you ended up getting screwed. So, financially, that was a genius step forward that made it so that we adopted as a nation and then inherently worldwide a new form of internet commerce. So, yeah, when Elon Musk sold PayPal, okay, he walked away with his billions and then started SpaceX, okay? So Daniel Tice asked, who is the new girl?
Ooh, that's me.
Yeah, this is Brittany. This is my wife, Brittany. She actually has been on a lot of our previous podcasts, but has been on sabbatical from the media for the past couple of months. And she's here to help us out with this episode as we are getting rid of a lot of the hats. She's actually helping moderate the chat and making sure that we get all of our autographed hats out to the right people and so on and so forth. So thank you for noticing, Daniel.
How about this? I have a question for both of you guys. And
Yeah?
for the chat, let me know in chat. What do you think about this? No cheating. Who was older, Keanu Reeves or Elon Musk? Who's the elder of the two?
Dude, Keanu Reeves is old, man. He was, oh my gosh, my dad, this just shows you what my upbringing was. My mom wouldn't let me watch The Simpsons, and she wanted me to be cultured, which meant I had to watch Rodgers and Hammerstein movies, okay? So I watched all the Rodgers and Hammerstein movies while avoiding The Simpsons, okay? And then my father made me watch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey and like Pauly Shore's In the Army Now. You know what I'm saying? So, man, Keanu Reeves was in his early 20s in what would have been like the late 80s, early 90s. So he's got to be in his like 50s now, right? So I would assume Keanu Reeves is older than Elon Musk.
We'll come back in 1 second really quickly. Shout outs to Dakota. $30 donation, said, love y'all's content. It'll help me learn so much about Andrew Yang and his policies. Keep up the good work. Changing from independent to Democrat to vote for him in the primaries. Cool. So if you want to give us another hat, Carden.
All right, rock on.
$30 donation.
Did you get the hat from Alizier Pendleton? He sent $30 on PayPal since Super Chat wasn't working.
Oh, it's another PayPal donation.
Oh, rock on. Okay, we're going to get two of those
I posted the PayPal
then.
link as well. So,
Eliezer, that's an awesome name. There was people named Eliezer in Argentina. That's great. I think you're the first one in all of our chat named Eliezer. That's awesome.
Of course, Carden has to do it with a nice Spanish, whatever pronunciation. I'm just this, white girl in LA.
Here you go. All right, awesome.
Okay, so the chat got it. Yeah, Keanu Reeves is like 7 or 8 years older than Elon Musk. It's actually not even that close.
Okay.
Very interesting.
But both of them, I wouldn't have guessed that. I would not have guessed that. They're almost
Elon
like
isn't 50?
I wouldn't have guessed that looking.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
I could have seen him being older. Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Boom. There's the hats. So, yeah, anyway, keep going on. Terugaita says, doesn't Yang love Dave Chappelle? Has he actually made a comment?
Well, hold on. Yeah, right. I would just assume who doesn't, right? It's Dave Chappelle. It's hilarious.
Yeah, but there's that huge takedown of his latest Netflix special.
People don't like it, but he's still Dave Chappelle.
Who was it got angry at him first? Vice? I think it was Vice. I think
who
Vice
knows
got
who did
angry
first, but
I just started watching it today. So I'm only 15 minutes in before we had to start live streaming.
It's not a 1,000-page novel. It's like a 90-minute stand-up session. No, I just started today. We'll see.
Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, I was wrong. How do you say his name, Carden? Eliezer?
Oh.
Pendleton?
Wait, no.
He said he's actually Dakota. That's the same person.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
okay.
What's up, Dakota?
Whatever.
How you doing, man? Okay, anyway, yes, Chappelle is one of Yang's fave comedians. Interesting. I didn't know that.
I've never, apologies, guys. I've never met a human being who's like, Dave Chappelle, I don't like him. I don't think he's funny. I've never met that person.
So Anton Allen makes an interesting question. Has Ben Shapiro endorsed Yang? Yes and no. He hasn't come out and said,
sort of.
I endorse.
He sort of said it. If is there any Democrat I'd like to see win, to be Yang or Tulsi. I think he said that verbatim.
Yeah, I was about going to say that word endorse is so strange. There's politicians like reserving that for its official context, in which you actually put your name on the flyer, saying that I Barack Obama endorsed Joe Biden, which actually hasn't happened yet, and a lot of people are asking why.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah, there was a candidate who lost here on the Republican side named Tony Strickland, who had been endorsed by Buck McKeon, the head of the House Armed Services Committee, and Mitt Romney as well, because he helped on those committees. So he was officially endorsed. Also, the AFL-CIO, unions, 501c3 school districts, they will all officially endorse and oftentimes lobby on behalf of individual candidates. And that's kind of like the official meaning in the political world of endorse. And then there's like individuals who endorse but not endorse. There was a classic scenario that Chris Rock would make fun of in his stand-up routines about how Barack Obama didn't give Oprah a job. Oprah gave Barack Obama a job because she infamously came out and said, now, I'm not endorsing him, but I'm just telling you I'm going to be voting for this young man who's got really good ideas, and that was Barack Obama on the most popular daytime show of that hour. So was it an endorsement? She said it wasn't, but it obviously was. So anyway, Ben Shapiro has stated that, he doesn't necessarily agree with all the UBI and everything, but he's been extremely fond of a lot of the policies, ideas, and demeanor, especially of Andrew Yang. Cody.
We actually got a $5 super chat from Nate Johnson, who said, last 5 for autograph. Just do a Triforce with your name. So I'll jump with a Triforce right now, man.
A Triforce, as in like Zelda?
What's a Triforce?
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, Boomer Carden got a reference immediately. Can we get a round of applause in the chat for Boomer Carden?
Wait, but I don't even know what a Triforce is. I'm not a boomer. Don't put me in his camp.
No, hold on. Let me tell you, all right? NES came out in 1983. I think it might have been 84. No, I was born in 83. It came out in 1984, okay? And what were the 2 most popular games when Nintendo came out? It was Super Mario Brothers, okay, and The Legend of Zelda. And I actually still have Bro, you dog on me with all this new gamer stuff, and I'm like old school gamer. I'm the only guy that that has a 72-pin NES system hooked up via HDMI to his HD screen with an original Legend of Zelda golden battery replacement cartridge, and I'm on like level 32.
Oh no, chat! You want to let Carden know where he went wrong?
Where?
You went wrong.
What?
I'll let you know. Don't worry.
Carden, you became cooler just now, but Brittany, why? Oh, yeah, because Common Triforce is totally Xer, not Boomer.
Oh, by the way, did you get Stefan's super chat?
Oh, yeah, awesome.
Our friend Stefan, $5 super chat. Listen, I'm not generous, just being financially irresponsible.
Plus,
no wife nagging me $5.
You know what, bro? I would never admit with my wife next to me to supporting that, but I support you, brother. I support you. So, anyway, yeah, so that's... see, look, Shanna Owens. I have my Zelda cartridges. Oh, Warner says that it's Boomer. Problem Boomer politics right now. Why is that Boomer? That's the original Zelda.
First of all,
the Triforce, you had to collect the Triforce.
If you want to brag about your NES, you should probably plug it into a CRT TV and not distort and stretch the image out on an HD TV. So.
Okay, well, look, but the Triforce was also in the N64 version, which I do believe
still
the
game.
Wasn't the N64 Legend of Zelda the most popular game of all like video game time in terms of sales?
No. Which one are you talking about, though?
The one for Super Nintendo, The Legend of Zelda on Super Nintendo. I'm not Super Nintendo, on N64.
Which one? There was two.
The first one.
No.
The Ocarina of Time. It was called the Ocarina of Time.
Yes, but it's one of the highest rated games. No Nintendo 64 games under the highest. Yeah. System didn't sell that well. But no, I believe it was.
So we're getting some comments from Matthew Dominguez. Thanks for the super chat. He says hashtag Motella Dime. Hashtag Carden calls Link Zelda.
Oh, did you?
No, I said The Legend of Zelda, and Link is the one who's trying to collect the Triforce in order to release Zelda, right?
Not bad.
I might have misspoken, and Matthew might have caught it. Anyway, Jacob Weil says, bracing for impact from Dorian. Do you think Yang would support anti-price gouging laws or no, as it brings more resources into a disaster area?
Fascinating question. Fascinating question.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're back to the deep super chats. All right.
Well, hold on.
Okay, Andrew Yang
Before you get into that, wait.
Yeah?
Letting you guys know, I'm trying to pull up a stream for CNN so we can watch Yang on CNN live with you guys.
Okay, awesome.
So if you don't point me towards the stream, I'm going to look on my own as well, but I just want to let you guys know. Sorry.
Okay. Well, anyway, I just want to comment that do you think Yang would support anti-price gouging laws or no? Well, yes and no. In specific instances, and it seems to be that he's got the emotional intelligence to pull this off. He's one of the few people where I think, okay, I'm not as freaked out about him when it comes to intervening in price structure. I'm usually very, boom, let the market do its thing. However, there's been a couple of instances where Andrew Yang has shown to have a streak of interventionism in him when he sees a specific circumstance. What's one of those specific circumstances that you like, Cody?
Kicking people off airplanes?
Yep, kicking people off airplanes.
Whenever anyone asks me, like, oh, what's like the one Andrew Yang policy? It's like kind of different. And immediately I'm like, the one where he says the FCC should keep a list of every time a person gets removed from an airplane, and so they can penalize different airlines for doing it too frequently. I want to talk about humanity first. And then it looks like we have the stream perhaps. I'm going to watch with you guys.
Okay, so we got two more super chats here really fast. Stephen Lin, thank you very much. Do you think Biden/Tulsi would endorse Yang? Biden has made some overtures of interest.
Ooh.
There's been a couple of tweets in which Andrew Yang has said, you know what, in between the debates, he said, regardless of how this debate ends up, I want to sit down and talk with you. I'm afraid that we're gutting the middle class, and there's no reason a politician would do that if he really, I don't think, was very sincere, especially in a position of where Biden's at. Okay. So I wouldn't see a problem with endorsing Yang. Yang's a very safe endorsement. I'm sorry. There's like almost nothing controversial about the guy. So I don't see why anybody wouldn't, at least from a spectrum, not a spectrum, but from a perspective of how could this harm me? I don't see it necessarily harming you. Okay, so I don't think there's any reason why Biden wouldn't. And Tulsi has basically come out and said, I endorse the UBI as prescribed by Andrew Yang, a.k.a. the freedom dividend. So I don't see a reason why she wouldn't either, were she to be officially dropped out of the race. Matthew Dominguez saying, I'm just saying you would. Hope this is taco money. Yes. And we're still actually really sincerely wondering if there's a way we couldn't all actually have kind of a problem solver politics taco day somewhere in Los Angeles.
This is Thursday. Let's do the Taco Tuesday stream.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, we can do that next Tuesday. We didn't say we were going to do that last Tuesday. Didn't we just say it would be a good idea in general?
Be fun.
Okay, we'll do that. We're going to do that, Matthew. What if we did it kind of like Hot Ones, where we just got a couple of different spices? And I don't know. If it gets too hot, it gives me the hiccups, though, and I don't want to have to be dealing with hiccups, while I'm trying to podcast. So anyway, Shanna Owens. Oh, man. I went to WWF Raw 20 years ago. Oh, boy.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, that's a good. It was a 99. Great year for wrestling. Great year for wrestling.
You just made a deep and dear friend in Cody Como because you spoke about Frazier. You spoke about WWE and or WWF professional wrestling.
No.
And video games.
I'm a fan of, because I'm primarily WCW and ECW, but yes.
So the Oregon Yang Gang. Oh, hey, the Oregon Yang Gang. They donated to us a couple of weeks ago.
By the way, shout outs to anyone playing WoW Classic right now. I just want to let you guys know that I think you're awesome.
Yeah, so Oregon Yang Gang's here. That's pretty awesome. The Bionic Bro. What is Andrew Yang's stance on genetically engineered organelles acting as one with biometrically enabled robotics? Are you talking about something similar to Elon Musk's bridge between the human brain and robotic prosthetics? I'm not sure. Bionic Bro, actually give us a little bit more details and specificity in your question. And then...
hold on, look at Connor Boyd. He said boomer hiccups.
Boomer hiccups. That actually kind of sounds like a Moby album. If Moby ever came back, I swear he would make an album called Boomer Hiccups. That actually, I've ruined it now, but I could see that being like a password that I wouldn't forget for something if I ever had a password that needed that many letters. Just Boomer Hiccups. The only thing I'm afraid of is I think I might forget at some point how you spell hiccups. It's HICCUPS, right?
Correct.
Hiccups.
Well, I have a better question. Is it a real word and thing?
Oh, hiccups? Yeah, totally.
That was actually called?
Oh, no, yeah, it's called, and I can't remember the name of the word.
Kleenex is the name of a company. It's not a thing. It's a tissue, but we call them Kleenex, but it's a tissue.
I forgot the name. I can't remember the name of a word where it's written out phonetically as it sounds. Just like, uh-oh, oh, no, yes.
Isn't that onomatopoeia?
Is that an onomatopoeia?
Yeah, isn't that like when a word is spelled like foosh?
Yeah, so hiccup. Most people
believe Carden secretly dried
at some
Shrew.
point was
$2 super chat from Matthew Dominguez. # Cody is Ryan.
Oh man,
I'll take that from the. If I had to be an Office character, because I'm a lot of people are like, oh, I want to be Jim. Like, nah, that's played out. Oh my God,
is Carden secretly Dwight Schrute? I don't know whether to be wildly flattered or just embarrassed that people are thinking I'm Dwight Schrute. I like.
Do people
Matthew.
actually think that I would marry a Dwight Schrute? That's the most important question here.
Oh man,
maybe he tricked you.
So
That's
Serpent
true.
77 does indeed say it is an onomatopoeia. So all right, awesome, rock on. So anyway, what were we talking about? We were talking about why didn't more celebrities come out for Andrew Yang, and then we got interrupted by a shirt signing. But I actually think that in terms of celebrity power, he's got a strong enough endorsement. I'm surprised that he hasn't linked up more with Elon Musk and not try and get more attention from Elon Musk and use Elon Musk's celebrity power, because Elon has shown a willingness to be involved politically. I mean, people forget Elon was in Donald Trump's cabinet for the first, 6 to 8 months of his presidency. Do you remember that?
Yeah, because I don't think Elon. I think Elon does what works for Elon.
Well, no, everybody's motivated impartially by self-interest, but it can't be complete. I believe there's room for altruism, and I don't see any kind of financial motivations on behalf of Elon Musk to be in Donald Trump's cabinet. He's already got whatever contracts he's going to do for the next 4 years.
Hold on.
Okay, what?
Oh, you guys freaked me out. Andrew Yang is not on my CNN stream yet, so once he's on, I'll pull it up.
Okay, your freak out totally freaked me out. So, anyway, so I don't know why he hasn't really done a little bit more to chase these supports, because also Andrew Yang's candidacy is so interesting because it's asking the question of, is internet strength the new normal?
Coming up on CNN.
Okay. Do we need to cut to CNN?
No, commercial
right now?
break. I'm like, coming up now after the commercial.
Okay. So the new question is, was Donald Trump's celebrity status and Twitter presence and his internet presence enough to win him in 2016? Yes, absolutely. But is it the new normal? Has it established a trend? We won't know until there's another solid internet candidate out there. So I think right now it behooves Andrew Yang to be absolutely pounding the proverbial pavement of YouTubers, YouTube sensations, stars, showing up on every YouTuber's podcast. I think if I were Zach, I would be saying, I want Andrew Yang to get on, whether it's comedically and as a regular person, or whether it's politically as the political candidate. I want him to get on every single YouTube channel out there, because that's what's going to get you some serious pub. And in fact, I've been talking with several members that are helping out with Andrew Yang's campaign who've been talking about expanding the UBI to one of every 50 states. The amount of publicity and the amount of new Twitter followers that Andrew Yang got after his announcement of giving $1,000 a month to that one family in Iowa and then that one family in New Hampshire was explosive. In fact, I think it was one of his more explosive periods of growth in terms of gaining new followers on Twitter and bumping it in the polls, so much so that they're doing the math thinking, gosh, why don't we do UBI for the entire duration of our campaign in one out of all 50 states? I mean, imagine the amount of publicity that would get. Imagine the amount of publicity that would get. Sure, there would be some cynics like the people in the NPR interview. And for those of you that haven't listened to the NPR interview with Andrew Yang, the two female hosts of the NPR Political Hour, I don't remember the exact name of the show, but I do remember some of the exact questions. And she specifically asked in regards to the family that received the UBI from Andrew Yang in New Hampshire, wasn't that kind of just like a buy-off, they asked? Isn't that kind of just like a buy-off? And he said, no, because they were expected nothing in return. And also, apparently, there's a family that's won UBI in Florida now, I believe, from the Yang campaign that he mentioned. And he said that that person that chose most likely won't even vote for me. So who knows? I don't know if it was because it was a registered Republican and you can't vote for Democrats in that state. Some states require that you register to vote as a Democrat in order to vote in those primaries. California has a jungle primary system where it's just the top two win. So oftentimes in certain races, especially like statewide races, we have just two Democrats on the ballot, or in some areas just, two Republicans on the ballot. And it's not like other states where it's the number one candidate of each individual party. Okay, so I know the FEC has different rules according to the different municipalities, but I really don't see why more celebrities aren't coming out of the woodwork in order to support Yang, but I also don't see why he's not hitting really, really hard this idea of giving out more UBI, if not just for publicity of its efficacy, okay, as well as why he's not just hitting all of these channels, like everything from the weird stuff you watch about like how people make like 16th century boats in the style of, I think it's Townsend's is a channel that we watch sometimes.
18th century cooking, yeah, I love that. 18th century cooking
18th century
fascinates
cookery.
me. Fascinates me.
So I mean, that guy's got over 1 million followers, and you can't tell me that Andrew Yang couldn't come in there and couldn't contribute in some kind of cool way to one of those podcasts.
What's the angle for Yang on there?
Sheer publicity, getting his name out.
Okay,
He's still
but-
introducing
exactly,
himself
yeah.
to the
But-
American public.
But like, there's no hook to like 18th century America with Andrew Yang and the.
Well, why not? Because it was
it's
the
very
18th
future-focused.
century. No, but it was the 18th century study that took down the Royal Academy's study on the.
Hold up.
Yep. What am I?
To push his proposal to give every American $1,000 a month,
Hey,
in what he
it's
calls the
Fredo.
freedom dividend. Bernie Sanders, who will be standing just 4 podiums away, says guaranteed federal
Here we go,
jobs are the way to do it, not just a handout.
Oh,
You got
hold on.
Andrew Yang
Ooh,
here.
hold on,
Thank you
guys.
very much.
Ooh, here
but
he
as
is.
promised before, on immigration, look, Rick Santorum, the president, Ken Cuccinelli, they're not wrong. There are rules, and what they're saying is we've been too lax on the rules for too long, and somebody
Okay.
needs
Sorry, guys,
to
gotta watch it in
restore
there.
order. What's your counter?
I think Jennifer had it exactly right, that we don't have the resources on the ground to actually implement the rules on the books, where you have rules saying judges need to adjudicate these cases, but then you get there, you're talking about a 10-month, 15-month waiting period to see a judge, so you end up with chaos, not enough facilities, not enough case managers, not enough social
Their
workers.
answer is, because you're arguing justice delayed is justice denied. If you can't do it efficiently, don't do it. They say that's crazy. Because these people aren't supposed to be here. They've been given a free pass. What about me? What about my resources for me and my family? You're just finding an excuse to be soft.
Well, the rules are the rules on the books, hard or soft. We just need to actually implement them as they're written. And to me, a lot of the discussion around immigrants,
by the way,
is missing the point, where we're scapegoating immigrants for economic problems, when if you go to a factory, it's not wall-to-wall immigrants you'll find in Michigan or Ohio or Pennsylvania. It's wall-to-wall machine arms, robots, automation. To me, the immigration discussion is unfortunately scapegoating people for something they have nothing to do with.
But unless you want to live out the matrix, people attach animus to other people. And if they want to talk about who they're afraid of and what they feel displaced by, they're going to look to people. This president knows that. That's why the focus of his demagoguery is this group that I call the brown menace, the way he's articulated them. The problem for you is, let's say you win, you make it out of this field. Now you're going to be standing with a guy who says, this is one of the oldest oppositional statements in politics. I'm about being tough on crime. You are soft. And tough usually wins. You say, well, you can't enforce the laws on the books. I don't think that's enough.
Well, we have to solve the problems that got Donald Trump elected in the first place. And when I go around the country and I talk to people in Ohio or Iowa or Pennsylvania, and I say, look, it's not immigrants, it's automation, thousands of Americans, a light bulb goes off. I've yet to have someone say, but I really think it's the immigrants. Because as soon as you say it out loud to someone, they realize, oh, wait, when I go to my supermarket, what do I see? One of those self-serve kiosks. When I go to my Walmart, what's going on? A robot patrolling the aisles. They see it around them, and then immediately they realize, oh, wait, there's something bigger going on here.
But do you think that works? If he's hammering on the fact that he's going to be tough on this, he's building a wall. We know that a majority of the American people think that a wall as part of a system of keeping us safe is good, a boundary system is good. You're just going to say, don't worry about that?
Well, we need to enforce our borders. We need to actually have the resources in place to enforce the rules as they're written. But we also have to think bigger about the forces that are driving Americans to feel like they don't have a path forward. And a lot of it is the fact that we've automated away millions of manufacturing jobs, and we're now going to do the same thing to millions of retail jobs, call center jobs, truck driving jobs, which will be an utter disaster for hundreds of thousands of Americans.
So I read into your plan about the dividend, and I discovered a few things. One, that was a great thing to call it. Now, your opponents will not call it a dividend. And I understand now, going through your reasoning and obviously your understanding of finance, why a dividend,
not a good compliment.
and just for people at home who had to figure out the way I did, a dividend is something that you get on the basis of an investment, okay? So it's not a handout. It's that you're getting this back for something you put in. And the reason you justify giving it to everybody, even someone who's making a lot of money like me, thank God, is, well, then it reduces the stigma of taking it. It makes it universal, and I'll pay more in to what funds that dividend. So I'll wind up getting less, actually, than I probably fund in. So it's okay. It balances out. Now, here's the stick that you get hit in the head with. You are the leftiest of lefties. You are a gift-given, something-for-nothing guy, and I'm killing myself working to take care of my family, and you're going to give everybody $12 grand a year on my back? No thanks.
Well, again, Americans are wising up to the fact that you have Amazon, this trillion-dollar tech company that's closing 30% of our stores and malls and paying zero in taxes while doing it. So you have to ask, who are the big winners in the 21st century economy? It's Amazon, Google, Facebook, Uber, companies that are excellent at not paying a whole lot.
I agree. Make them pay a lot of taxes and use it to pay down our debt and all those other things, so I pay less taxes.
Well, what we do is we get our fair share of every Amazon sale, every Google search, every Facebook ad. A study just came out that said our data is now worth more than oil. And what I'm asking people, Americans around the country, do you remember getting your data check in the mail?
Never.
Never, right? And
But why
that's
should I get
how
any
people
check
are profiting
in the mail?
right
People
now.
who say, no, something for nothing. This is America.
Dude,
you
but
earned
this
it.
is what
This is not a
bothers me.
socialist
Like,
country where you get
he's
given
only
an
presenting
income.
a
Well, this is a
caricature of
deeply American
conservatives.
idea, and one state has had a dividend for almost 40 years, and that state is Alaska. It was passed by a Republican governor. He made this argument, who would you rather get the oil money? The government, who's just going to mess it up somehow, or you, the Alaskan people? And we're at the same point where what oil is to Alaska, technology is to the entire country.
So what do you say to Bernie saying, because it's not like he's known to not be left. He says, no, it's too much of a handout. You got to have federal jobs. That's how it makes more sense.
Well, to me, Bernie misses a few really important truths.
Yes.
Number one, if you put money into our hands in a dividend, we're going to spend it right there in our economy. It's going to be trickle up in towns and communities. It's going to create hundreds of thousands of jobs at restaurants, garages, tutoring services, daycare, where we live and work.
Why isn't the same true as if you were working from a federal job? You get income, you spend it.
Well, in this case, like if we have the money, we spend it in local businesses, and then that economic growth ends up creating hundreds of thousands of jobs. The second thing is a federal jobs guarantee doesn't touch people like my wife, who's at home with our 2 boys right now, one of whom is autistic, nurturers, caregivers. Saying that you have a federal jobs guarantee does not recognize the work that's actually going on in our homes and communities every day. The third thing is that Bernie somehow imagines that millions of Americans aspire to work for the government, which we do not. If you think about a federal jobs guarantee in practice, who says what the jobs are? What if you don't like that job? What if you're not good at that job? Who manages you? There are all of these really tricky details in implementation that make a federal jobs guarantee much, much better in the abstract than in real life.
Do we really
that
want to
third
make the
point
entire
is going to be your
nation the
strongest as a counter to
DMV?
him. His strongest to you is going to be that feel of something for nothing. And there's subtlety here. And there's nuance, and
No,
that's
you
hard to
have
get
no
across
idea what
in
you're talking
politics.
about,
But that's
Chris
why we
Cuomo.
invite you on the show to be tested and make your case. Andrew Yang, congratulations on being on the big stage.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
All right, I'll be seeing you there. All right, thank you very much. All right,
I mean,
a lot of heavy news.
Okay, how does he make it onto news? He should be just a football coach on ESPN.
Well, football coaches are not the best shape.
Okay, yeah, but I've never understood why people think Chris Cuomo is a go-to in terms of intelligence. He's never come across that way to me. And those questions were just like, yeah, so how do you know they're not going to be angry with you for having given stuff out? Dude, we talked with Scott Santons about this, and he actually agreed with me. And this was, oh man, I wish I would have recorded this. It was after the interview. But I told him, I said, it's strangely easier to convince conservatives who are fiscally conservative and huge limited government people. It's easier to convince them that the UBI is a good idea than some of my liberal friends. And he said, yeah, I totally agree. He said, there's so many people on the far left that just want the revolution. They just hate capitalism. They want the revolution, and anything that doesn't get them one step closer to the revolution, forget about it. And UBI is a great idea, and I can see why people misinterpret it as being a far left thing, who don't understand that, hey, Milton Friedman wrote a book on it. Milton Friedman was Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon's cabinet member and, prominent advisor, but once you actually introduce this, I think it's easier for Andrew Yang to get more moderates, get more of the exhaustive majority of the moderate left, but then also the moderate right with his idea of UBI. So going in and answering this question saying, yeah, you're right. I do think conservatives are a bunch of jerks that don't want to give people anything. I don't know. I just think it's a bad move. Man.
But I don't understand what you mean.
I just think those were incredibly biased questions where it was like CNN was trying to get more out of Andrew Yang than Andrew Yang was getting out of CNN in that case. But
no, I mean, they're definitely questions that are very, very tough, difficult questions. I mean, that's why I pushed him on the border.
What's
we know that. We know that his border policy is in line with Democrats.
And say, so what are you saying? When you say we have to enforce the laws as written, are we going to be actually doing news stories on you about kids in cages? Because that's technically what the rules are written on the books.
I mean,
that's what a journalist would have asked.
Whatever.
Or a journalist would have probed and said, okay, you want the UBI? Well, how are you going to pay for it? Because you can't unilaterally make a VAT tax. That has to be voted on.
He brought up a different angle of it.
Okay, dude. Chris Cuomo, I'm sorry. Look, I admit I have a dislike for Chris Cuomo. Okay.
Well, no, I want to settle something. I asked people in chat, but anyone in chat who missed this, I just want to get the answer before I move on. So, in this corner, we have multimillionaire presidential candidate John Delaney right here. Do you think John Delaney has what it takes to take on national television host Chris Cuomo in a fist fight? Most of you guys, I think I saw it was pretty split, Cuomo and Delaney. I think this is the kind of stuff that matters, guys.
I think Delaney would win.
You think Delaney would win?
You want to know why? Because I don't think Chris Cuomo's ever been in a real fight in his life.
You just hate Chris Cuomo. I forgot.
No, come on, dude. His dad.
Blaney's jacked.
His dad
That's a
was
big
the
arm,
governor,
man.
and like his great grandfather was like a senator or something like that. He is straight up like third generation northeastern political blue blood. All right, and he gets all offended when people say, "Yeah, look, you got your job because somebody made a phone call." But I think like that's what most people think because they know the way the wealthy nor'easterners work. Okay, and so whether that's true or not, I'm not here to judge because I don't know. Hopefully, he made it on his own merit. I don't see CNN as a particularly meritorious institution, so I doubt it. But I'm open to the fact that it might be. However, I'm just saying. I bet you he went to a very nice school where there weren't brawls that he had to worry about. There wasn't bullying going on that he particularly had to worry about. You know what I'm saying? And he's been preserved from some of the things that, my buddies who grew up in the ghetto were not preserved from that made them a lot tougher. So my question is, how preserved from those realities of life is John Delaney? Because I think the person that's got more grit would win that fight because both of them lift weights like crazy.
Yeah, they're in good shape.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's tough.
Delaney. Oh, this is hilarious. Matthew Dominguez says Delaney, bald head equals more testosterone.
That's a true point. That's a true point.
Is that true?
Yeah.
If you have a bald head, you have more testosterone?
Why do you think men's hair falls out? Well, women's hair, generally speaking, does less.
Wait, so if you have a full head of hair, you're a bigger wimp?
I don't know if it works that way. I think one of the reasons why men bald, where women, generally speaking, bald at least differently, they lose hair differently, is because men have higher levels of testosterone.
Okay, Nate Johnson says, will Yang get dragged into the play this debate? Into the play? I don't know what that means. Well, you mean, I hope you mean kind of like into the melee of questions. I'm hoping that
the fray maybe?
Yeah, into the fray. I'm hoping that the hashtag Yang Media Blackout and Let Yang Speak and so on and so forth will hopefully wake up whoever's in charge of asking these questions so that there's more intelligent questions and they actually kind of get him involved more. But also, I think Andrew Yang is going to have to learn to play that game. It is a little bit like a reality TV show. You do kind of have to cause a little bit of your own drama. You do kind of have to speak up and say, oh, hey, without your microphone getting turned off. And he himself says, that debate format with 15 people on stage isn't something I excel at, and that's fine. We're going to see two things. How the media responds to previous criticisms of previous debates in which Andrew Yang has been shafted, and then how well Andrew Yang responds himself to not lackluster performances, but perceived lackluster performances in previous debates, and how his behavior changes. Does that make sense, Cody?
Yeah. Well, speaking of, I want to show you something real quick.
Okay.
It's the video posted today in response to the Yang Media Blackout. NBC actually referenced it. And it looks like a reporter on the campaign trail kind of flagged him down, asked him a few questions. Thought it'd be kind of fun to pop that on and see what happened.
Okay, rock on. Let's check it out.
So cool.
Yeah.
I love your technology. She's doing the job of what used to be at least 2 or 3 people. I just want to point that out.
Thank you for the compliment. I am.
Did he just out her as not having a cameraman?
I also just want to say her equipment says Jester on it. I did not realize it was her last name, so I thought it was like a code name, like Top Gun. It was like Jester, but it turns out it's actually just his name.
Well, first of all, where are we and what are we doing?
Oh, we're on the pier here in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, talking about climate change and what it means to fishermen communities, what it means for all of us, really.
There are lots of fun parts of the campaign trail. What is the toughest part?
Toughest part for me is being away from my family, because I've got 2 young kids, 6 and 4, and they say to me, it's like, Daddy, where are you going this time? Like, how long are you going to be away? So that's a massive drag.
What is something that people don't know about you that you haven't publicly shared before?
Wow. So fun. My favorite chocolate is dark chocolate. I guess no one would know that. Favorite color is blue, but you can probably tell that just by looking at my getup. A lot of identical looking outfits in the closet. Something else more interesting about me.
Dark chocolate, that's interesting. My dad's that way.
As a kid, I used to cut my own hair. I bought clippers, and I just go, they go around like that. Now I do not cut my own hair because, running for president, and they decided to upgrade me.
What is a talent that you wish you had?
I wish that I could play guitar because I grew up playing piano, and then whenever there was a person at the campfire playing guitar and singing, I thought, wow, that's much cooler than playing piano because it's not like you can bust out a piano in that environment.
What about a talent that applies to being president?
I've got an above average memory, which seems to be a handy skill. It would actually help me be a good commander-in-chief too, because I have a fairly good recall.
Is there an item that you collect and why?
Oh, interesting.
I used to collect comic books as a kid, but haven't in a long time because our comic books got piled up in a collection that my mom gave them away to some younger kid. Also action figures when I was a kid, but that's also been a long time.
Wow, he is towering over her.
I was about to say quick aside, he is 6'1".
Society.
Well, I think the fact that our attitudes towards gay rights have transformed relatively quickly is a massive triumph. It seems very common sense to recognize gay marriage when not that long ago that would have been considered very controversial.
Absolutely. Do you want to walk and do a couple?
Sure.
What sport is politics most like?
Ooh,
Ooh,
I think
these are great
the
questions.
sport that politics is most like is professional wrestling, which is not even quite a sport.
Oh!
What is the biggest
I say this
mistake
every
you've
single
made
time. I
as a
say that exact
leader, and
thing.
how did you fix it?
Thinking that there are times when you have to demonstrate leadership by outworking everyone to a point where you actually end up wearing yourself out, and then the people around you also wear themselves out, and it ends up being not a great recipe for organizational success on any level.
So did you fix it by taking a break?
Yes, I did, and it turns out that the only way to get your people to take a break is to take a break yourself if you're the CEO or head of the
Okay,
organization.
interesting. That sounds kind of a little bit packaged.
Felt discriminated against.
Ooh.
Well, this is someone just yelled a racial epithet at me out of a car just the other day. So
What's the toughest decision you've had to make as a boss?
That's it.
That was weird.
the toughest decision you make as a boss
Well,
is
we
when
all get that.
people help your organization succeed, but then your organization gets to a point where that person may or may not be the right fit. Then you have to make changes in the organization, and you feel personally indebted to the folks that got you there. But then you have to look out for the well-being of the organization, and sometimes that means making.
I just want to hear where he's a big
difficult,
fan of The
painful
Rock.
Who's your most important hire as president?
Well, it's going to be my vice president because that person could potentially become the president.
She's probably standing 3
and,
feet in front of him
you
and
need
still less than shoulder length.
a partner in that role. So I'm looking forward to identifying my VP.
What department under the executive
No
branch
hint.
is in most need of reform?
Well, one of the things I would do is I would create a new department of the technology that would help see to some of the issues that are, at this point, transforming American life and are not being accounted for at all.
Look at how
If
he
you
has to
could
crouch.
have any celebrity you a food, what celebrity and what food?
Rock and a protein bar.
There we go.
Wow. The Rock and a protein bar.
Hey, see, look, great minds think alike. Yang knew the same thing. You say, yeah, professional wrestling and politics are the exact same thing, and they are.
Dude, there's some really funny stuff in the chat. Oh my gosh. It's true. Leaders lead best by example. Marianne's leaving. Gotta go. It was fun, guys. Larry Susan, does Yang being 6'1" make you doubt that he's 100% Asian? Oh, no way, man. There's some. There's definitely.
Yao Ming was Asian?
Yeah, I was about to say there's definitely. Obviously, some cultures are very, very short Asians as well. But the average Chinese basketball player towers over the average American basketball player.
No, that's not true.
Oh, no, that is true. From our 98.1 interview, where we interviewed the guy that does all the basketball teams. And he's like, yeah, you have no idea what it's like over there just by sheer volume.
Okay, but you're not like the professional level.
We'll have to go pull that up. But he gave a specific stat. And yeah, Yao Ming's what, like... Shaq joked around on Hot Ones saying he's 7'11" like the convenience store, but what's his real height?
He's listed at 7'6".
7'6".
Oh my God, that's humongous, dude.
Jeez, that is brutal.
So shout outs to Yao Ming, you know.
So I think it really does just kind of depend on where you're from, and then also
look at this. If anyone's familiar with how tall 7'3" Shaquille O'Neal is. Here's a great picture. So,
Look
I mean,
at
I get that, he's one person, but I don't know, still.
You know those stupid internet chains that you get where you know that they make you press next for like the top 20 historical never before seen pictures, and you have to click through it just so they get their clicks?
Shout outs to Yao Ming.
Okay, one of the few times I actually enjoyed and went all the way to the end of one of those click trails, was the top 20 times Shaq made normal objects look tiny. And I got to tell you, I will never forget, there is this one picture of him walking outside of a hotel on like a movie set where he was dressed as a cop, as an NYPD cop, and he was holding a can of Coke, just like a regular can of Coke. And the way he was palming it and just having to hold it with his fingers just like, I mean, it made it look like he was holding a thimble. I'm not kidding you. So that is definitely one of those chains that is worth checking out. I think it's called the top 20 times that Shaquille O'Neal made something look absolutely tiny.
Someone in the chat, you got me, man. I admit, you got me for a second. Someone in the chat said, where was it? They said, oh, dude, Bruce Lee was like 6'5". And a second, I'm like, wow, really? That's insane. And then I look him up. No, he's like 5'8" or whatever. I'm trying to imagine in my head a 6'5" Bruce Lee. I thought was hilarious. For anyone just joining, I want to recap a couple of things. Number one, we just went over the Yang Cuomo interview. We'll go over that again in a minute. Number two, we got in the Problem Solve Politics hats. If you guys would like a hat, just super chat or donate $25, and then anything over $30, we will sign it for you. And number three, we went over and covered the podium positions for the upcoming debate. It'll be only one night instead of two because only 10 candidates made it instead of 11. Tom Steyer didn't make it. That's kind of the latest news. Just catching anyone up who just recently joined.
You know, part of me, that gives me a little bit of hope that Tom Steyer didn't make it. If he would have made it, I just would have lost all hope in humanity and the American political system as not being just 100% purchasable. You know what I'm saying? Just 100% for sale discount rate if you are a billionaire. I just got totally dogged. Bobby Jedi says, Cody is all right. The other is annoying AF. Ouch, dog. The other. Ouch. Bobby, my name's Carden. Glad to have you in the chat, dog. Glad to have you in the chat.
You forgot the rest of his comment, though. It was, ha 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 ha, like an evil laugh.
Oh, I didn't see that, but... Oh, okay.
I think because he said it twice.
Okay, Izzy Bolden asks, how tall are you, Carden? The only reason why I mention Bobby's diss on me is because one of the things Cody hates the most in the chat is when I'm referenced to as the big one and he's referenced to as the little one. That's one thing that he finds very annoying. So I like to highlight that. Matthew Dominguez. Oh, Matthew Dominguez, I want a hat. You know, I'm actually okay with that. Anyway, how tall are you, Carden? Izzy Bolden. Izzy Bolden, how tall are you, Carden? I'm actually 6'5.5". So Steph and Lynn, thank you for recognizing that. The second I put shoes on, though, I'm 6'6". And yes, I do hit the tops of door frames, unfortunately. It's a little bit unfortunate. It's a little bit annoying. Kenneth W. says, thank you for your grassroots movement for Yang. You are welcome. You are absolutely welcome.
Did you see what Marcelo said?
What did Marcelo say?
Marcelo I'm horrible with names. I don't know. Sam Mammy. He said, you're not annoying, man.
Oh, why, thank you.
You got one. You got one.
Thank you. Thanks. You know, fist bump through the U of tubes. Anyway, Rambo also says, I agree with the big one. Awesome. I'm liking this. This is better. So let's go over this, though. Oh, there it is. You got the picture of Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, my gosh. Can you see that?
That's
How
the one, ladies and gentlemen.
tiny is that can?
It does look photoshopped, but...
No, look at that, though. Like, I don't do that.
It does look photoshopped.
You think so?
I don't know if it is. It looks photoshopped. Yeah.
I don't know.
Look at this. Look at this. Hold on a minute. We'll do a little investigation here. It probably isn't, but I'm just telling you.
Dude, no way. That
looks suspicious.
Look next to his tie.
It looks suspicious.
Put it next to my tie.
No. The hand looks suspicious. Look at this right here. This looks like a blur. This looks like when you use one of those tools on Photoshop. What's like the classic meme? I know this has been photoshopped. I can like see the pixels. It looks weird to me. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You might be right in that, Cody. You might be right. I might have been fooled and forced to give my extra 10 clicks so that website got its extra 10 cents. I am a victim of digital capitalism and chicanery.
Anything that looks weird is probably photoshopped. Almost always.
Okay, Martin the Panda. My internet died right after my donation. How do you get my address? Also, enjoy another $5 on me. Yes, thank you
very much. Send an email. I'll put the email address down in chat. And you can send an email right here to problemsolverpolitics@gmail.com. That's the one. Or you can reach out to us on Twitter at PSPRadio1 with a direct message. I check both. And then Marcelo S. Thank you for butchering my name. Oh my God, Samame. Okay, he actually explains how you say it in there, and we said it wrong. And thank you, Samelo.
Okay, look, did you know how long it took me to understand Carden's name? Okay,
yeah.
I called him Carson.
Carter, Cardigan, Gordon, Carmen, Carter. Yeah, it's brutal.
I'm not a name person.
And then also Matthew Dominguez, send us your address, bro. Send us your address. Same with Fred the Felon. Send us your address.
Hey, shout out to Charyoshi won. That's what I was referencing.
Yes, and then also, interestingly, Stefan Lin says, I saw a random car with Yang's bumper sticker parking in front of my house. Awesome. I have yet to see one myself that's not people coming to interview with us in the studio, but I am giving a shout out right now for the Yang for Us, Michael over at Yang for Us. He's packing his bags and he's moving to Vegas to try and help and influence the third state to vote in the primaries. And if you DM him on Twitter, he'll send you a bunch of these Yang stickers for free. And when we send out the hats, we'll also send you one of these Yang stickers for free that he gave us. So you can hopefully start seeing more stickers. But on his own dime, he actually makes the Yang stickers, doing that guerrilla advertising.
We have a website. It's problemsolverpolitics.com. Not a whole lot there at the time, but we do have a website. Sorry, someone asked.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go over the topics we're going to cover. We already went over the celebrities. We went over the endorsements. We never got into the climate change thing. We're not going to have enough time. But you also just said 10 minutes ago that you wanted to go over, our response to the interview with Chris Cuomo.
Yeah, I thought Cuomo gave him some pretty tough questions, research questions. I mean, somebody, I'm sure he's a busy guy, he didn't have time, but somebody definitely fed to him and said, hey, here's where you could press him on both from the right and the left. I thought Yang handled himself very well, given some difficult questions. We've known this since day one. I mean, if you read his kind of border patrol and border control and border policies, they're definitely to the right of most people on the Democratic Party. And so Cuomo brought that up and said, hey, people are going to say, like, so he kind of asked him, so what are you going to do? Are you going to support what they're doing now? And Yang said, well, there's laws, we have to follow them. So that was interesting. And still, it's going to be a sore spot for him. I've seen people post on his website where it says the pathway to citizenship at yang2020.com. I don't know if any of you guys have seen.
Okay.
Maybe. Oh, no, we're doing it a lot. Anyway. I've seen people post they changed it. It used to say make them earn it on there. It doesn't say it anymore. It used to make them earn it. I've seen people just post that picture, circle it, and say I can't support this man. So that is something that people on the left, that's where he is out of line with the traditional kind of Democratic, like DNC establishment
I
type.
wouldn't say traditional Democratic. I would say out of line with the SJWs.
Yeah, well, sorry. I mean, like the establishment.
Like most SJWs are an establishment. They're far left.
Okay, but you know what? You want to know something? I don't care about the SJWs. I care more about the actual political establishment and who they support. So that was interesting. And then he also said, like, the emotional argument. I thought that was interesting. He brought up the emotional argument you'll get from the right. Typically, you're not going to hear that. But they talked about the right-wing emotional argument of, hey, I work hard. Why are they getting something for free? And he said, how are you going to break through that? Fair question. I know you hate the guy. I thought it was a fair enough question for him to ask.
I hate the guy. I'm annoyed by intellectual dishonesty. That's all.
Okay.
So anyway, we got a couple of super chats here. We got to go over. Peter R. It's a Photoshop. You can tell by the pixels. Peter R. Cody is very appreciative of your wisdom, affirming this. Kenneth W. says you should do an interview with Kim Iverson on your show about Andrew Yang. We're totally open to that. I saw you got Paget. That was great. Yes, we did. She is great. She was actually a very enthusiastic and fun interview. And we got some behind-the-scenes footage that we still haven't edited up and posted yet. But there was a very funny argument about Macs versus PCs that me, Paget, and Cody got involved in. And it was good to see her enlightened opinion on the subject that happened to coincide with my opinion on the subject.
Only reason he cares. Someone agreed with him.
Which is why I say it's enlightened.
You want to be Carden's best friend? Agree with him in chat, and he will be your best friend forever.
Kenneth W. says, also, I'm 6 foot tall and Viet, LOL. I assume he means Vietnamese. Yeah, I have a bunch of little, not little actually anymore because they're all teenagers, but cousins were all Vietnamese too. Yeah, man. Awesome. Good to see you in the chat, Kenneth. So Patrick Cook. Oh, we got another hat. We got to send off to Patrick. Shameless promo for the Dallas Yang Gang. Interesting. Daniel is correct. And for those of you that don't know, I assume he's meaning Daniel from American Jobs Factory that interviewed 2 live streams ago. It's active and growing. 3 more gangs started in the past 6 weeks. I assume he means Yang gangs in DFW. Just left Fort Worth gang as your stream started. We reference / promote PSP frequently. Hashtag prolific. All right. Thank you very much, Patrick. Your hat. It's in the stack, my man. Make sure that you give us your address at, I believe it's our regular email address, pspradio1@mail.com, correct? Wait, no.
Problemsolverpolitics@gmail.com or at PSP
Oh, that's our
Radio
Twitter
1 on
handle.
Twitter.
That's our Twitter handle. Yeah, sorry, I just mixed those both. I apologize. So anyway, we've actually reached out to quite a few people. and it's 50-50 who can get back to us. You know who I really want to interview is Nerds for Yang. You know that guy?
Yeah, very cool.
The
Very
most
cool guy.
enthusiastic. That guy I want as my neighbor. Like, he seems like the guy that would dress up awesome for Halloween and put a ton of Christmas lights out. You know what I'm saying? He seems like really cool. Semper Malice says, should Yang make new points instead of same script? You know what? Yes and no. Actually, I don't want to overtalk you, Cody. Do you have an opinion on this, or should I just dive right in?
Sorry.
Should Yang make new points instead of the same script?
Sorry, I actually have something to say on this. I apologize. I was responding to one of our lovely fans on Twitter. Shout outs to all you guys. You're all so great. I don't think he should yet. Eventually he should. We were talking with Daniel from American Jobs Factory, and he brought up, he's like, I try to watch and videotape and go to all the rallies, but you've seen one, you've seen them all. And yeah, like, people like us who watch a ton of Andrew Yang content, I've heard that answer. I've heard him say it before. But the thing is, like, people still know who he is. Once everyone knows who he is, and it's not a matter of getting his name out. His name's out. Now it's the time to, kind of make your pitch. I think then he should switch up his message. Right now, though, it's still just getting his name out there. So sticking to the message I agree with is my point.
Interesting. Eric McCathern says, I like that you guys added a girl on the podcast because Cody is too quiet sometimes. The little one. No, I'm just kidding. And then Semper Malice, should Yang make new points instead of the same script? I'm sorry, we already read that one. Here's my opinion on that. It's because we are all painfully aware and have been watching Problem Solver Politics and know all of the ins and outs of at least 40 of his 50 main policies. And we digest and consume a lot more Yang content. So we're coming at his introductory elevator pitch. We've heard him say, well, we need to figure out who the winners and losers are of the new economy. We've heard him say that 15 times. Andrew Yang. It was a horrible impersonation. I can't do his high tenor of voice. I just can't do it. It was absolutely, I butchered it and I'm never trying it again.
Yeah, for a second I was like, whoa, I missed a lot. What is he talking about?
But I was trying to mimic a key phrase and it came out very poorly. But that's fine. I'm not a good impersonator. So anyway, we've all heard a lot of it, and I have noticed he's definitely fine-tuning which of the elevator pitches work the best. So we're going to be hearing a lot of it as though it were on repeat. But he's still just in introductory mode. I don't know. You can't just change up your best elevator pitch in order to make your already convinced fans happy. And he's kind of in the same boat to me, interestingly enough, as one of the female candidates was on the Republican side in 2016, Carly Fiorina, who had a really awesome resume, was coming from the tech world, was coming from a non political background, but she was constantly having to introduce herself to the American people as, oh, hey, I was a big Hewlett-Packard executive. Oh, hey, I come from the big tech world, so on and so forth. Oh, I have X, Y, and Z ideas. Obviously, she was not as prolific in her ideas, and her ideas were not the freedom dividend and so on and so forth. She didn't have like a flagship proposal, but she was in the same position of having to constantly introduce herself. So oftentimes her pitch was repetitive because anytime she got on TV, oftentimes it was the first time the viewers of that show had ever seen or heard of her. So if you watched a lot of Carly Fiorina content, you were watching the same elevator pitch over and over and over again. And so I think to a certain extent, Andrew Yang's in that boat. That's why we appreciate things like the NBC Now interview in which you get a lot of new things. That's why I appreciated the Nerds for Yang interview where we got to hear a lot of new and personal questions. Kenneth W., we should do what he do and raise $10,000 and get Andrew Yang to come on the show. Oh, Cody, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we just got to reach out and set it up. Once we do, I'll let you guys know.
Okay, interesting. Originally, I was opposed to that because I didn't want to be perceived as a shill because we're problem solver politics and we are independent. And so I don't know. I part of me just would not at all have a problem with it. And then part of me is kind of like, I don't want to be perceived as fan buying for him. I want to be perceived as giving honest analysis of what I
business agreement
of what I perceive.
Business transaction. We want him on the show. He wants money from us. So you do business, man.
Okay,
like I was telling you, do you think Johnny Carson had people on his couch sit here and talk about their stupid movie coming out because he just had to hear about what's his name's new dumbass movie coming out, or do you think someone paid a lot of money to get him there? So.
Okay, interesting. Prometheus says Yang needs to skewer Bernie on the debate stage so media will cover him nonstop. Oh, you know what? Remember when I said that Andrew Yang needs a breakout Tulsi moment? Just like when Tulsi went after Kamala, and that was kind of like the shot that was heard around the world for the next week in the media cycle. I hadn't really thought about this before, and I don't think much would be gained by Andrew Yang all of a sudden going on the aggressive. So much of his attraction, especially with moderates and people in the middle that have kept him going up in the polls, is a lot of his demeanor. However, I could see him making a strong argument of the effectiveness of UBI versus the effectiveness of the federal jobs guarantee against Bernie Sanders, and then having a breakout moment if he would call out Bernie Sanders' federal jobs guarantee. I could see that. Matthew Dominguez dogging me. Cody the Oracle, Carden the shill. Yeah, shill for who?
For himself.
For myself?
Big Carden shill.
Well, how am I shilling? We're like the antithesis of shilling.
I don't know. I'm just messing with you. I don't know how you shill for yourself. It's a good
Okay.
question. How do you shill for yourself? I don't know. I will say though, the Andrew Yang impersonation did not
Don't
go
dog
over
me,
well.
Matthew. I'll take your hat away. No,
The
I'm just kidding.
impersonation did not go over well at all. I have to say.
Oh yeah, was it really
So
bad?
do better next time. Was it really bad? Oh, I
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
was-
Chat, was Carden's impersonation really bad, or was it just kind of off? Let us know.
Well,
a couple of people wanted you to do it again. So.
Well, no, he has a way when he says, "Well, no, but I can't. I can't.
It's
I
Ben
can't
Shapiro.
do it.
It's Ben Shapiro every
it's-
time.
It's really bad. Yeah, it's. There's ones that I can do really well. I do a much better Beto O'Rourke.
No, you don't.
Well, look, just because it's 4 out of 10 doesn't mean it's not better than
I
the
guess
2
you're right.
out of
Much
10.
better is the proper way to phrase it.
You know what I'm saying? So I do a better Beto O'Rourke
Oh,
than
shut
I
up, Matthew
do.
Dominguez, 2 hours. You know, hey, same shut up. Right back at you, man. Seriously, always have a lot of fun.
Thanks, Matt. You're a stud.
Carden the antithesis. Oof.
So this is like the 7th time that S. Johnson says Carson is a right-wing NPC.
That's what I say sometimes too.
Okay. Actually, NPC is a term for leftists.
No, it isn't.
That
no, it isn't.
It was originally commandeered and used colloquially as a term for leftists.
No,
and also, my name is spelled with a D. If you're going to besmirch me on the chat, I prefer to be besmirched in a way that is both legible and properly spelled.
Oh my god.
So anyway.
Oh my god. That's you know what, dude. That's how you know you've been owned, when you have to be like, well, you know, he didn't spell the words right. It's like, yeah, dude, you're so owned.
Okay,
Don't.
I don't know.
Look
I'd
at
say
this one, Carden,
owned.
with an I-N. No, Carden is spelled Cardon.
See, people still right.
Okay.
Shout out Izzy
We've
Bolton.
gotten Carson, Carden. It's Cardon.
Thank you, Izzy Bolden. Wait a minute, Carden. I didn't know you spoke Spanish. Sí, hablo español, Izzy. Hablo español también. I do speak Spanish. I lived in Argentina for 2 years, and if you wanted to eat, you had to learn how to speak, and I wanted to eat.
Really?
So, oh, dude, I was out in the sticks in a lot of my areas, man. It was just me and my Chilean companion, and there was a couple of times where I had American or European colleagues that I could work with that spoke English, but there were entire swaths and months where from the hour that I woke up to the hour I went to sleep, I only and uniquely spoke Spanish, which is their local dialect of Castellano. However, what's really funny is South Americans love American rock and roll music, and Avril Lavigne was huge back then. So I was constantly translating for the local children and the local ladies. They always wanted to know what Aerosmith songs meant and what Avril Lavigne songs meant. So, yeah, that was kind of a funny international thing that was going on when I was down there. And I have no idea why it was Avril Lavigne. You know what I'm saying? But they loved Avril Lavigne, and they totally loved Aerosmith for some reason. Yeah, like, literally, I translated that song. It had been already out for years by the time I was serving down there, but they love Avril Lavigne in Argentina. So, yeah, I literally can't tell you how many times I told what the story narrative of Skater Boy is. Like, I can't tell you how many times I explained, okay, había una chica, había un chico, él in Argentina they say, not a tablero, they say, they don't say skater either. The Mexicans actually say hacerle skate. I can't remember the term that they used. But anyway, yeah, I was translating that all the time, and it was absurd. So anyway, oh my gosh, somebody just said Cody the Oracle and Carden the Translator. So anyway, JFB, thanks for the super chat, my man. you get a signed hat right here. If YouTubers were to do a debate, who would you want to host it other than yourselves, of course? Examples: Joe Rogan, Crystal Ball, David Pakman. Please sign from everyone. Ooh, that's an interesting question. I don't think I've really met somebody quite yet that I think. Thomas Jefferson said, out of the clamor of many voices will the truth be established. I would almost think it would have to be a consortium, or maybe a lot of questions that were voted on. If YouTubers were doing the debate, see, this is what I love. If YouTube were to do the debate, I think the questions would be much more crowdsourced. I could see YouTubers having an entire council where they say, okay, guys, this week we want you to upload all of your questions and upvote. We're going to do a straw poll on these questions. What do you think the best questions are? And the problem with some of these media debates by CNN or MSNBC is you can totally tell the script was written by 3 biased people that all went to Ivy League schools, are detached from the reality of America, and just want to make sure that every one of their questions has a tinge of Orange Man bad. I mean, they're all Don Lemon or Chris Cuomo questions, right? Whereas I would like to see deep and penetrating questions like the ones we get in the chat. I mean, Cody, am I wrong here? We get some pretty heavy-hitting and deep philosophical questions in some of these super chats that are twice as informed and have more depth than anything you see coming out of these circuses that MSNBC, NBC, and CNN put on. So if YouTubers were doing the debate, who would I want to host it? I would want the people to host it through their questions, and then I would probably have no problem with Joe Rogan sitting next to Crystal Ball, sitting next to David Pakman. I would almost make them, though, depending upon their bias, ask an opposingly biased question. So I would love to see David Pakman answer like a conservative question, and then maybe Joe Rogan, who self-considers to be more leftist, but I think he's a lot more moderate, ask potentially maybe another moderate or less moderate question. So anyway, Chris Flores says, I think Carden brings up Argentina more than World War II. They are close, I'm sure, metrically. And then Matthew Dominguez, philosophical taco questions. Yes.
There's a lot of hold up. First of all, I just want to say I would like to see Twitch chat host or moderate the debate. So that could be good.
Okay, interesting. Stephen Lynn, yeah, Carden, we all know the real reason, wink. Awesome. So JFB, here is your hat, and here is your hat autographed and signed right there. Boom shakalaka. Cody, your turn, man. You can use the red or you can use the black.
Been using the red.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So Marcelo Samame says Buenos Aires equals good air. It actually means good winds. It's plural. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, technically translated would mean multiple of good airs. But back then, Aires actually meant good trade winds, like good, the winds that you used to get out of the harbor or a bay. So anyway, okay. So we already covered the Chris Cuomo interview.
Carden fight David Pakman.
It is what it is. Carden fight David Pakman. No. But yes.
You know what I would love to see? I would love to see as the debate moderator. I would love to see there'd be 2 debate moderators and have it be like Glenn Beck and Don Lemon. I would love to see that. You can get the establishment people, but get you know what I mean? Get Rush Limbaugh and then get Lawrence O'Donnell or whatever, or Chris Matthews. Chris Matthews and Rush Limbaugh. Just 2 people that are radically different as far as their opinions on television. They're probably friends in real life. And then have them moderate. I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Although I would like to see more questions from the people. I would like to see questions from
Twitch chat.
People.
Shout outs to Twitch chat moderates the debates. Make it happen, folks.
All right.
Oh, and someone brought up a good thing. Salvador Menzer said that H3 had better questions than all these media outlets. Again, I want to give a shout out to Ethan Klein. That was a really, really, really good interview he moderated at that a couple months ago. It was really cool.
Yeah. So anyway, what's interesting is Terrell Xavier says DNC would never allow a YouTube debate. I think they won't have a choice if the Yang Gang, the Orb Gang, the Tulsi Troopers, and the underdogs of both parties, but right now the RNC is not doing anything because Donald Trump's going to be the nominee because he's the president. Okay. But if in the next, it happened last election cycle, Twitter became a big interrupter. Okay. If this election cycle, we can have the breakout performance of an Andrew Yang, an internet sensation that ends up having to be taken seriously on the traditional stage because of his performance in new media and the unorthodox stage. If all of a sudden the new media sensation has to make it onto the broadcast traditional media stage because of his new media appearances, I think that will set a precedent, okay, in which it will affect the future of how we do debates, and the DNC will be forced to incorporate more of YouTube. Stu Bear, what person to endorse Andrew Yang next would help put a spotlight on him? Well, you always have the Kardashians. You know what I'm saying? This is America, okay? However, I guess it would
old
mean
school now.
Yeah, I guess it would mean though, what demographic are you looking to highlight? Okay? Because we've done multiple analyses of Andrew Yang's performance politically, especially in polls, and there's been multiple 538 articles and Hill articles and so on and so forth that show over 70%, I think it's almost 80% of his fan base is male. So he needs to get more females involved. So what avenues do females pay attention to more? For example, Tumblr used to be predominantly female before they went out of business, but YouTube is predominantly male. So if you're a YouTube personality, you're most likely, much more likely to have a prominent male audience, okay? So he would have to choose platforms and shows possibly that would help him with those demographic struggles. And this is a great question for Brittany, actually. What would Andrew Yang, just off the top of your mind, you don't have to do something, deep and with measurable quantifiers that prove, exactly what the ratings are and stuff like that. But from a women's perspective, how would you get much more attention of women at this point if you're a political candidate like Andrew Yang?
That's a good question.
Like, what media consumes? Do you think, would TV commercials influence you? I don't know. How would you?
No.
I'm trying to wonder, how would you get to me if I weren't already involved in politics? Oh, that's a good one. We're going to get back to that one. Okay. Matthew Dominguez, Tommy Chong is the Yang Gang wife taco order. Yeah. What are your favorite tacos, babe?
Del Taco. That's
Del
my
Taco.
favorite.
Just regular Del Taco.
It's cheap. It's good. No fuss.
Izzy Bolden says, hey, Carden, I need your insight. How the F did the DNC become so corrupt? And was Yang right, or is it even worse? Well, it's not that it became so corrupt. I think that it's been corrupt for a very long time. Those of us that live in California are extremely and painfully aware of the corruption of the DNC. But technology is shedding light on a lot of this stuff. It's a lot harder to lie about things and say, oh, I never said that now, because somebody will pull out the tweet. And I don't agree with our cancel culture. I think it's toxic. I don't agree with people losing their jobs because of something they tweeted 30 years ago. However, I do like the fact that if you say something now, digital recording and social media is permanent enough that you can say, no, actually, you did say this. So what happens is you're able to speak truth to power more effectively. So corruption can't be as successful as it was before when it was behind closed doors, because now technology has opened up so many more doors. And also, the Yang Gang is predominantly center left, okay, or progressive, okay, like ex-Bernie people and stuff like that. There's a 30 to 40% that are conservative with like a 5% libertarian wing of the Yang Gang, okay? But I would say it's a solid 55-45, maybe even 60-40 split of what people would self-identify as liberal versus conservative, okay? So what's so interesting about Andrew Yang is previously Democrats have viewed the corrupt ones as the Republicans, because all of the leftist media is highlighting is never the corruption of their own party that they're pushing, and all broadcast media is pushing leftism. That's just a fact, except for Fox News and maybe what's that America News Network
there's like Blaze and America's Voice.
Yeah, but the Blaze
One
isn't
American
cable.
News.
The Blaze isn't broadcast.
OAN?
That's streaming.
One American,
Yeah,
OAN and One American News.
So except for Fox News and OAN, which control a very small sliver of the news market because they're cable, most people still rely upon broadcast news, which is the traditional three of ABC, NBC, and CBS. So except for Fox News and AON, you're not getting a lot of news organizations that are right-wing. Obviously, talk radio is predominantly right-leaning and right-wing. However, people are only coming around in the Yang Gang to the corruption of the DNC because it's the first time where DNC corruption has actually hindered them and made them realize, holy smoke, they actually are stacking the deck for the establishment person, even though the establishment person isn't helping out the people the DNC says their platform is supposed to help out. Hold on a second. And it's this giant realization for the Yang Gang, which is, I think part of political maturity, and it's a really good thing to watch. Stefan Lynn says, the more chat with Bernie, bro, more conservative I am. That's funny. Actually, I don't even know if any of those titles work anymore. Like, what's conservative and what's liberal now? Like, conservatives have all been let down by, yeah?
Well, you were talking before. I want to get back to something before.
Okay.
Really quickly on Twitter.
Yeah.
You were talking about celebrity endorsing Yang, all that stuff, right? And I saw this. So Andrew Yang tweets out earlier today saying, I bet the Nets signed Carmelo now that Wilson Chandler got suspended. To a lot of you, this probably means nothing. It's just basketball stuff. However, Spencer Dinwiddie is a professional basketball player who plays for the Brooklyn Nets, who responded and said, wait a sec, we got presidential candidates watching now? You may have gained a vote. And Andrew Yang responds and says, thanks, Spencer, coming to a game this fall. Hope to meet you then. Congrats on being one of the reasons for the Nets renaissance. You've earned it. Definitely got to make that happen. See you soon from Spencer Dinwiddie. So we were talking about kind of how we can, I don't want to say star power, but leverage more popular figures to grow his name. Dude, most basketball fans are apolitical. They just like basketball and like I know a lot of people like that would seriously say like they like go to the gym and work out and play basketball, and they watch basketball and they play 2K and then they go to work or school. And that's like what they do. That's a lot of people. If he could reach out to those people by and like I said, I mean, look at this. You have basketball players going like, oh, presidential candidates like pay attention to us still? Like, where's basketball players? That's interesting. And I think stuff like this is kind of cool about Andrew Yang. We saw it a very, very, very little bit with basketball with Obama. Obama did like the brackets and he would talk like, oh, I want the Bulls to win because I'm a Chicago fan. Famously, George W. Bush sits behind home plate at a Texas Rangers baseball game. It's pretty frequently, maybe less now, but very frequently. So there has been, but just seeing a presidential candidate on Twitter just doing like full on NBA Twitter speculation, like, I think the Nets are going to sign Carmelo Anthony. Now, I thought that's really funny and cool. I just wanted to get that out there. I don't know like I said, I'm interested what your opinion is as someone who doesn't know anything about basketball really from that.
Okay.
So what do you think? As someone who doesn't know about basketball, what do you think about interaction like that?
Oh, I think it's going to be predominantly dependent upon personality, and it's a good litmus test. I think if you can effectively make apolitical people like you, it shows that you have got good just retail political chops and good diplomacy skills, which I think is very, very necessary in the realm of politics. So I think it's a good sign for Andrew Yang that he's getting apolitical basketball players to like him and say, hey, yeah, man, I'll vote for you. We got presidential candidates, kicking it. And this is something I loved about Barack Obama. It was a beautiful thing watching how he was able to positively engage in social media. I mean, some of these BuzzFeed videos that he did were freaking hilarious. Now, politically, I was gritting my teeth whenever he talked, right? But from a personality perspective, the White House is the people's house. Therefore, the presidency is the people's office. And the more a president can make himself accessible to his people and level with them and become beloved, I think the better president he is. Sure, he's going to have to work on his policy proposals, but that personality is something that cannot be taught. And there's a reason why the Greek word for charisma literally meant gifts from the gods, because it can't be taught. It is a gift from the gods, and Barack Obama had that gift. Okay? I think to a certain extent, Andrew Yang does have that gift. As long as he does not alienate people. Don't alienate people. Stick to the best parts of your personality, and you've got that gift. Now, Matthew Dominguez says that was so deep, Carden. Thank you. We go deep here at Problem Solver Politics. So deep, we need to start our own think tank. But anyway,
oh my God, no.
What?
Can I go back and delete the last 10 seconds of reality?
Why? What happened?
Oh, never mind. I apologize. I thought you were trying to make a pun.
No, but did I come across as a dad joke or what?
No, now I see there's no pun. I'm the idiot. Sorry.
Okay. Music to my ears. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, we just posted the Discord chat. For those of you that are just tuning in, we noticed we've actually had an extra couple hundred live streamers just tune in over the past little while. We got a special live stream that we're doing right now. Check out the Discord chat. If you guys want to send us memes you get, or you want to send us ideas for podcasts, or you got deep questions that you want to flesh out, we get a lot of our podcasts and our video ideas from the Discord chat, so feel free to jump right in. There's also a specified sub chat that's just for memes. So if you guys got some really funny memes that you find online or that you make yourself, you can add them. If you want to contribute to the channel, you can obviously go to the PayPal link that's linked in the description. But today we've got an actually really special podcast going on because we're getting rid of the merch. If you give us a $25 super chat, we're going to send you a hat. You just have to email us your address. And then if you give us an extra $5, give us $30 super chat. Then we're actually, me and Cody are signing these and autographing these limited edition Problem Solver Politics hats. The exact same ones that we were on the show. So anyway, all right, let's keep going. So we already talked about the Chris Como live stream. Then we are going to talk about the reaction to the NBC live stream with the short girl.
You missed something.
Oh, what did I miss?
Method Omega said Andrew Yang on 2K TV. And someone brought something up, too, I wanted to bring up as well, is the fact that's kind of interesting. A lot of people didn't know this, myself included. Andrew Yang actually did officially work for the NBA for a period of time. I thought that was really cool.
Wait, I knew he was a lawyer, and then he worked for the NBA. Oh, no, we did know that. Who is the franchise?
No. He worked for the NBA.
Just the NBA proper.
He was like a entrepreneurial kind of like a mentor coach for younger players or even older players who are just kind of like, hey, I got a bunch of money. What do I do with it? Andrew Yang was one of those guys who, like, they knew he was a businessman who knew some people, and he could come in and say, hey, here's how some smart ways of being an entrepreneur with your money, not an investor. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, so we just got a super chat from Jay Doza. Thanks a lot. He says, love your show, ! Thank you very much, Jay Doza. I watched the corporate-owned media do this to Ron Paul. Oof. I was a Ron Paul guy. I'm feeling you. Bernie Sanders, yeah, I disagreed vehemently with, except for prison reform. I liked a lot of his ideas on prison reform in 2016. Disagreed with the vast majority of Bernie Sanders' proposals. However, I was frustrated as heck on behalf of Bernie Sanders, and I agreed with the Birdie Bros that he was just getting lambasted, and the way he was railroaded was so corrupt, but out in wide open that I was just frustrated. So Jay Doza, I agree with you. Ron Paul got maligned. Bernie Sanders got plain old railroaded. And we're trying to prevent that on this channel from happening with Andrew Yang by exposing his hashtag Yang Media Blackout. Hashtag Let Yang Speak.
Get to the end of the super chat. I want you
we have one corporate party that uses the DNC and GOP to play good cop, bad cop with the people. That's actually very true. One of the best.
Man, that is what I try to tell you that all the time. Like, oh, the Democrats. Like,
no, I'm saying,
the government.
There's but there are philosophies that are more toxic than others. Okay.
Oh my God.
And there is a spectrum.
God. It's the government, dude. Doesn't matter what party. It's the government. They're all the government.
Okay, that's the reason why we need the limited government model. Government. And there's a party that is endorsing limited government.
What are the limited?
This is what I like about Andrew Yang's UBI is it shrinks the size of the state and the bureaucracies that control our lives.
The limited government party very recently had to decide how much money they were going to use to fund the government this year. And how much did the limited government party decide to spend?
No, the limited government party is booing at Gary Johnson because he says, I support showing you have to know to drive a car before you have a car to drive.
So there is
get a driver's license.
No real party then.
So the losertarian party, it hurts me to say this. I have a very large libertarian streak. I'm actually a lot like Andrew Yang. He himself said in the Nerds for Yang interview that I have a very big independent streak and I have very much actually a libertarian streak inside of me. But man, the Libertarian Party can't get its act together. Look at the people they put up. Watch the highlights of their conventions. You'll literally have Gary Johnson get up there. And he'll have the three other libertarian candidates there. And Larry Elder asked the question, do you think we need driver's license? And The guy next to Gary Johnson says, yeah, what are they going to regulate next? Like oxygen? No way. And then it gets to Gary Johnson. He says, actually, I'm okay with saying you have to demonstrate a skill set before you're allowed to drive a killing machine. And then everybody in the audience goes, boo.
Hold on. I got one of my favorite libertarian. I feel, okay, look, this is no disrespect to our libertarian friends out there. But whenever I think of the Libertarian Party, not the ideology, but the modern American Libertarian Party, there's one video that comes to mind every time. I'm getting it set up right now. And I think this is, if you haven't seen this, just check it out.
That being said, at the state level, I would support some legislation that would stop children from being allowed to purchase drugs and prosecute anyone who would put a child in danger, because I do believe that children do need some protection. Yes, you should not be able to sell heroin to a 5-year-old.
He's actually getting booed.
I do not believe you should be able to sell heroin to a 5-year-old. Boo. That's the problem, man. That's what the limited government party attracts, unfortunately.
So Viscatronic has an interesting question. It says, serious question, guys, ! Will UBI deter illegal immigrants from coming to the U.S.? Think about it. Well, it's not UBI's job to deter illegal immigration. That's the job of law enforcement. That's the job of ICE. That's the job of Border Patrol. That's the job of E-Verify. That's the job of good hiring principles, okay? And the reason why you have to show identification before you can fill out the paperwork to get a license to work in, as a contractor, as an electrician, or in pest control or whatever, where you have to state that you are a U.S. citizen. So it's not UBI's job to deter or to attract immigrants. Now, obviously, yeah, it gives a huge incentive to become a citizen, okay? And I think there has to be a clear path to citizenship. A clear path doesn't mean that it's easy. It doesn't mean that it's fast or slow, or it doesn't mean this, that. It just means that it is fair, it is compassionate, and it also is proportional to how much the American population can ingest while still giving the best chance to the immigrants themselves, okay? America is a massive sponge. Sponges can only soak up so much at once, though, and we need to really analyze the science and the data as to what is the best number that we can take in so we do the best job for as many people as possible. So Andrew Yang, I think, actually totally gets this. And what's wild is when you study his immigration policies are like so law and order. I mean, you'd think Steve Bannon wrote them. Like, I mean, they're intense. They're pretty hardcore. He might have softened up a little bit, but there's like specific instances where he's like, yeah, we need to like fortify the Rio Grande, basically make it a moat. You know what I'm saying? And we need to, really have a strong like E-Verify system, have a strong visa system, because if I'm going to be giving out $1,000 a month to every citizen, we got to make sure we know who's citizens and who aren't citizens.
Oh, no, hold on. He says, do you think it will deter? Because immigrants will essentially be from the hole because they don't receive the freedom dividend. That's interesting.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because the thing that's interesting about that, yeah, because that isn't even about illegal immigrants or legal immigrants, just simply non-citizen immigrants.
Well, it would definitely make it a handicap to progress, so I think it could deter. I could definitely see how it would deter. I don't know how large the sliver would be, but I could see how it could indeed deter a certain subset of illegal immigrants, people that would be on the economic fringe. Somebody that's coming as a refugee, though, or is escaping political violence in, say, Africa or Colombia or Argentina or even Asia, they're just coming to escape death. So with or without that $1,000, I'm escaping the mafia. Okay. And I don't think they would be particularly deterred. But those that lie and say they're refugees when they're not really refugees and they're just coming for a job, or else they've gone back and now the coyote's smuggling them back in, or, they're a quintuple deportee that's already been deported 3 times for drunk driving, or they have criminal records and things like that. I think that would definitely be a deterrent because you're economically disadvantaged. So I could see that. That's actually an interesting. That's actually a very interesting. Interesting analysis.
Did you see a Martin super chat? Said no. Libertarian ideals of individuality are anathema to parties. It's a contradiction in terms, and I agree. I think it's one of the reasons why the Libertarian Party is so weak, because most libertarian people that lean towards the libertarian perspective, aren't going to like join a political party. They're like, no, I don't like the government and I want nothing to do with it. I want to make a party and go to Washington, you know?
Isn't that kind of inherently why they're so cool? Because if you're cool, you don't start a club of cool people because you don't need it because you already know you're cool, which shows that you actually know you're cool by not joining the cool clubs. Therefore, libertarians, since they're so individualistic, they're not even going to start their own party, which shows that they're right, which means they're the cool kids.
Yeah,
Right?
we're so cool, we're never going to get anything we want done. That's how cool we are. We're the coolest guys who get nothing we want passed. We're so cool that we just do nothing.
Oh, that's funny. So Mike Louder says, Problem Solver Politics. Love watching you guys. I should be leveling my paladin. LOL.
You should be, dude. What are you doing? Just be careful out there. A lot of people are tagging mobs, so make sure you get your mobs tagged.
So Sheikh Islam says, what do you guys think about implementing a land value tax federally? First off, dude, no, there's way too much federal everything. The federal government's job is to protect us. It's to run the military and a select few other jobs. There has been so much happening federally. No way. I'm a states' rights guy. Get the Fed out of it. When the BLM was taken over federally, so much was just lost, and it's frustrating the land management aspects. Like, no, I'm a states' rights guy. One of the reasons why I support Andrew Yang's UBI so much is because of its potential to get rid of all these bureaucracies, especially federal bureaucracies that make life here so expensive, and extend the power of government unnecessarily into our lives. I mean, we have such a disrespect for law here because there's too many laws. We have a disrespect for the government because there's too much governmental influence in our lives. We have a disrespect for the bureaucrats that work for the government because there's just too much bureaucracy altogether. So I am not for adding anything more that it's federal. Show me something statewide and I'm okay with it, as long as it's voted on by the people, especially. And that's my biggest problem with regulation in general, is it's not voted on by the people. It's voted on by bureaucrats who have no accountability to the people. Mark Heath says, you think anyone's going to target Yang next debate? Dude, I don't know on what they ever could and how he would not counterpunch them with a math bomb. Who?
I think so.
Who?
I think Warren might stand up for her whole automation is not that big a deal thing. And then Bernie Sanders might say UBI is bad. My state slavery plan is preferable. So I think it's realistic. I think those two candidates in particular, from those two particular attack vectors, I think are, I don't want to say likely, but well within the realm of possibility. That's the thing that could happen, and I wouldn't bet on it, but I wouldn't be surprised either if exactly we saw that. We saw Elizabeth Warren say he's overplaying automation. It's not what we have to focus on other issues. And Bernie Sanders saying, no, you understand. I got a better plan. It's state slavery. So that's what I think.
You know, that's such an interesting soundbite. State slavery. I've never really heard it put that way, but it's so true. I got to tell you, I don't see the strategic advantage of starting out a comment going after Yang. I don't see it. And I got to tell you, I think those candidates fear him. I think they do. Anybody that's got any campaign managers working for him that's analyzing the field has done the fantasy football and has done the fantasy candidacy, has done the focus groups. And I guarantee you those focus groups came back with analyses similar to, don't go after Yang. He'll truth bomb you. Go after Biden. Make him gaff. I guarantee you that's the strategy.
Well, I think it'd be kind of like a dismissive swipe more than some massive attack, where they just kind of be, oh, this Andrew Yang guy wants to do this. Trust me, it's not going to work. Anyway, I think it'd be along dismissive, but that's how you start, right? It starts off dismissive and then it becomes what it becomes, so to speak.
Yeah. Prometheus says something interesting, that Yang needs to be on offense, and we actually spoke about this in the last hour. I definitely agree. Two things need to happen. The public needs to hold the media accountable for their bias, for their media blackout of Andrew Yang, for their, I don't want to say conspiring against him, but dismissing him in what is beyond human error. Okay, so the media needs to put pressure on, the public needs to put pressure on the media to do a better job. And also Andrew Yang needs to adapt very quickly to the modern political media sphere. And I think he needs to have a breakout performance. in one of these up and coming debates. I don't think he needs to do something that's outside the realm of his personality or something that looks artificial, but I think he really needs to have like a Tulsi Gabbard moment that makes it so that, you know, her Google inquiries spike and she gets a ton of Twitter followers and she gets a ton of donations and she gets a much more poll results. And then also the Yang Gang kind of needs to step up. It was interesting. We were talking with Seth and he says, you know, I'm trying to get an event so that the LA Yang Gang can do more than just comment on Facebook. We can actually go out and move the needle like the guys in Denver are. I mean, I believe it's a past he runs.
I think it's a greater commentary on just Los Angeles people more than anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Go outside and talk to strangers? No way, dude. Why would I ever do that?
Yeah, I've been talking with the leader of the Denver Yang Gang, and I believe he's in like ministerial school or something like that. It was interesting. I remember he made a couple of comments about swearing in our Discord feed, you know, and then he was like, you know, I'm sorry, I'm in ministerial school, you know, it kind of bothers me. You know, and I was like, okay, cool, I can respect that, you know. But the Yang Gang are pushing the needle hard. And I believe they lay claim to the fact that for being the impetus of why the Emerson poll put him at 4%, which was one of the higher polls that he's had in the past, 13 to 18 months presidents. Okay, let me see. Kenneth W. said, someone said that socialism as a kickback when capitalism goes to the extreme.
Well, how about this?
7:46 Pacific right now. Probably going to wrap about 8 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah, we
anyone who just joined over a chance, just want to give you guys one more chance. We got in our brand new Problem Star Politics hats. We'll have them on the website in about a day or two for you guys. If you like one right now, though, if you donate $25, you get a hat. Anything over $30, we'll sign up for you on the stream. I just want to give you guys a shout out before we head out in about 15 minutes here. I want to give you guys a warning.
Yeah, so just remember, if you guys want the hats, we're going to sign them right here in front of your eyes. You're going to get the hat that you see on the super chat that you see on the live stream. So anyway, Rhino97 says, why doesn't anyone call out Biden for, quote, business as usual, or Warren, quote, playing ball with establishment Democrats? You know, I got to tell you, my heart sank a little bit as much as I disagreed with Bernie when he ended up endorsing Hillary. I was like, man, you kind of lost that independence there. You know, you sold out a little bit, right? So the fact that Joe Biden is establishment business as usual and Warren is, quote, playing ball with the establishment Democrats, I mean, it's silly that you rip on the wealthy and vilify them and then go groveling for their money. And then when people call you out on it, you say, well, I need it, you know, and then there's Pete Buttigieg saying, oh, well, how else am I going to fund my campaign? Rich people suck. Thanks for the money, but I need it. How else am I going to fund my campaign, poor person that I'm trying to fight for by becoming friends with all the rich people? You know, I disagree with, I'm 50-50 on Citizens United, and I disagree with this idea that political campaigns should only be funded by small donations. No, I think the ability to get large donations is a skill set, and similar to the skill set necessary to be a president when you're going to be dealing with large international world forces and corporations, okay? So the ability to get along with these people and show that, hey, I can make an economy that benefits the wealthy and benefits the poor, then you've got a super candidate. So I don't want to outlaw large donations, okay? But don't go vilifying people and then asking them for their money. Most Americans really don't care what your ideas are as long as you're not a hypocrite and you just stick to the script for a while. Okay, so I think that is a huge problem with Elizabeth Warren and with Bernie Sanders. You saw him get lambasted when he sold his book and he made $1 million, and then he just comes out with an absolute Republican talking point saying, well, yeah, if you go write a book that's a bestseller and make $1 million, then you could be a millionaire too. Yeah, that's called capitalism, and we encourage people to excel in their skill sets so they can go out and make $1 million. So these people you've been vilifying for 50 years, now all of a sudden you are parroting. What make you? A hypocrite. I'm sorry, I got something in my throat today.
But see, there's the one thing I always, people say like hypocrisy. Like, the other explanation though is I used to think one thing, and then I learned more, and I changed my mind.
But he's not saying that.
Well,
Bernie Sanders didn't say,
I know.
Yeah, you know, I used to vilify the rich people until I became one, and I realized they're easy, and authors are people too, and you should write a book as well.
Okay, sorry, I want to get to this. Super chat, Thomas Person, $2. Well, $4 in total, but $2 super chat saying, what is Yang's 2024 slogan? I think a good one, God, you do have to kind of go for groaners.
Well, how about re-elect me?
I was going to say, like, keep moving forward, right? Or continue forward, stay forward, something like that.
Yeah, so,
They're all cheesy, but they gotta be, right?
You're right. I mean, if we got Make America Great Again and then Keep America Great, or Promises Made, Promises Kept. Okay.
Promises
if you
made.
did,
Oh no, that'd be awful.
If you did, no, I think that's actually his official slogan, isn't it? Promises Made, Promises Kept. I believe that is the Donald Trump re-election slogan.
Oh, he's gonna lose. That's terrible, man. That's such a bad one.
Well, people thought that Make America Great Again and just that simple font that looked like the felt iron-on letters.
That's a great idea.
Well, it'd been used by Eisenhower. It'd been used by Ronald Reagan. A lot of people criticized it as a repeat. But anyway, we're not going to rehash 2016. We're going to answer the question of what would his 2024 re-election slogan be. And let me see. If you said humanity first, you would have to say humanity still, humanity always.
Humanity still.
Keep going with humanity. I don't know.
Vote for
Brittany,
me.
what do you
Keep
think?
Going with humanity.
Wait, not left, not right, forward. What would you say? Like
stay forward. Keep going
not
forward.
Not left, not right. Keep going forward.
Power
keep
forward.
On, keeping on. I don't know. What would you say?
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah. I don't know. You can think on that.
I don't know. You guys had all the ones I thought of.
Okay, Martin the Panda. Ooh, interesting. This one's actually not bad. You want to read the Martin the Panda super chat?
Yeah, Ever Forward. It's not bad. Oh, we have Matthew Dominguez, Andrew Yang. It's what plants crave.
Andrew Yang. It's what plants
a great one.
crave.
You know what that's from, Carden?
No, but it's awesome. What? SpongeBob SquarePants.
No. Good guess. Good guess.
What?
But no, it's
not
SpongeBob.
the WWE. Hold on. It's from that movie where there was the carnivorous plant that ate people.
It's not from Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Not from Little Shop of Horrors.
No, what is it from?
It's from a movie Idiocracy, I believe it was called. The feature film. Terry Crews plays the president.
Oh, gotta see it, man. Is this another like boomer thing?
I mean, you probably should know, but
I probably should know. Okay, I'm a big Terry Crews fan, so I can't believe I haven't seen that yet.
I'm a huge fan of Terry Crews' work. I've seen all of his early work.
Luke Hamilton says the slogan should be "Come on, guys."
Come on, guys. Andrew is a bad mother. Shut your mouth. That's a good one. Some Shaft reference.
All right, that's awesome. Holistic Hottie says, I left, came back, and we are now talking about Andrew Yang's second term. LOL. Yes, Holistic Hottie, we are. And it's beautiful, and you're welcome to opine. In fact, what do you think re-election slogan should be? Anyway, Jay Doza. Oh, he gets a hat. Or she gets a hat. Jay, is that Jennifer? Is it John? Is it James? Is it Jackie? What do you think about the DNC loyalty pledge at Pledge Indivisible? We're going to have to decipher that, Cody. DNC loyalty pledge. Tulsi and Yang still haven't signed and could maybe run third party after DNC cheats. Okay, so they're referencing this idea that you won't break off and form a third party, which has been in the chatter for months now. Should they run Green Party? You know what? Okay. So I think there needs to be a rebirth of multiple parties. Cody's a little bit more cynical and thinks that the DNC and the RNC would team up in order to just smash some third party. But there are individuals who are uniquely qualified to form third parties at certain points in time. I think Mitt Romney could have formed a third party, but didn't. He decided to go anti-Trump instead, and I think it's cost him. I think Andrew Yang actually could start an effective third party that is the Humanity First Party, and I think it would be wildly effective as long as it was socially liberal, fiscally conservative, just moderate. Like, I don't know why moderate became a bad word somewhere. Actually, I don't even like the term moderate though. I would say just intelligent. It could be called the Intelligence Party. But
hold on,
I think the loyalty pledge just shows the insecurity of the DNC, and I think they know that because the broadcast media is dying, okay, and new media is taking over, and people are becoming more individualistic in nature. Also, the DNC's numbers are plummeting. They actually have gone inverse of Republicans now. Republicans' numbers are plummeting too, but only about 27% of Americans self-identify as Democrats, while 29% self-identify as Republicans, and the rest all just say independent. Independent is still the biggest slice of the pie. But if she went Green Party, there's big problems that you'll get with like Green Party people. The Green Party, I think one of their biggest flaws is they don't allow corporate donations. And in the modern political sphere, I'm sorry, you need super PAC money. You know, there are good super PACs out there that help. You know what I'm saying? And there's issue super PACs that can chip in if you're good on a certain issue. So I think Andrew Yang could either start his own very influential and very successful super PAC or third party if he ran. I don't think all of a sudden adopting another party's platform would necessarily be the right choice as much as just starting your own. Because Andrew Yang kind of is his own thing, and the evidence of that is the success and the diversity of the Yang gang, you know? Matthew Dominguez, is Andrew Yang the hero of time? What do you say, Cody?
Ooh, that's a good question. If he had to be one, he'd probably right. Like, either way, it's a good point. I'm trying to think of other Zelda games. Other Zelda games are the heroes are more unique, and yeah, that's the more apt one. Man, he comes from the future, or he comes from the past to save the future. So.
Here's Jay Doze's hat right there. You gotta make sure you sign it. And then we also had another super chat from Izzy Bolden. I love that name, Izzy. That's pretty sick, man. Here's one. Time to break the cycle. Yeah, rock on. Time to break the cycle. There's actually probably a lot of truth to that. I like it. So anyway, we're going to keep going down here.
I could have sworn there was something I wanted to bring up, but no. God.
Nothing right now, huh?
One of you guys had a great point I wanted to bring up, and I can't find it, so I apologize.
Yeah, so anyway, we're actually going to be wrapping up here in a second. Make sure you get your last super chats in. Make sure you get your last comments in.
The J.G. Wentworth party. It's my money, and I want it now.
Oh, Sonia Ko brings up a really interesting one. She says the presentist party. So anyway, just make sure if you guys haven't had a chance yet.
I remember now.
What is it?
I was going to say it. The intelligence party sounds like the party that gets beat up by the other parties.
That's funny. Nova O'Brien says Bernie bringing up job guarantee against UBI is the best thing to happen for Yank. Dude, I really agree with that because it created a substantive argument. Very good observation, Nova O'Brien. If Yank can get Bernie to debate him in the next debate, GG for Bern. I got to tell you right now, I agree with Scott Santons on this. He called it the Barbara Streisand effect, that like the more you ignore her, the more noise she makes about being ignored.
You know the Streisand effect? You know what that is?
No, I didn't realize it was actually a specific
boomer. Barbara Streisand effect. There was a photo of Barbara Streisand's house that was published in a publication. Barbara Streisand freaked out, demanded it was pulled down. So news stories went up saying Barbara Streisand demands photo of house removed. Suddenly the story becomes, what's the photo of this house? Everyone rushes to the internet to seize the photo of her house. Like, it must be crazy. Why didn't she want it out there? So in her trying to prevent people from seeing the photo, she actually created the frenzy of people to rush out and seek it out. So anyone out there who ever hears the Streisand effect and says, what does that mean? That's what it's referring to. It's really funny, you know, the idea of, I mean, it's kind of like the thing though, like with like reverse psychology with kids, you know, like if you want to like make them get in the car, say, hey, don't get in the car, we're not leaving yet. And then, you know what I mean? It's like the same idea. Where it's like, don't look at this, and everyone's like, don't look at what? Huh? Don't look at it. Why shouldn't I? And they run out. So I believe you have a
Yeah, so thanks for the comment, Nova O'Brien. Anyway, Jackson S. wants his hat. Awesome, Jackson. His question is, do you think everything Yang wants to change will actually pass Congress? I want my hat. Well, check this out, brother. You get your hat, my man. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for supporting the channel. And that is the big question. That's actually one of the biggest questions I've been trying to actually not I've been trying to, but I was asked what questions do we want asked to Nerds for Yang, and specific policy questions weren't as fun as personal questions, but one of the biggest ones I put on there was, how are you going to get the UBI passed if it means it's going to majorly shrink the power of the bureaucracies and the unions of government employees all of a sudden are fighting against you? So, yeah, it's going to require an act of Congress, specifically House of Representatives and the Senate, not a presidential election in order to get UBI passed. So there's going to have to be some diplomacy there. How do you plan on handling and navigating those waters? There's a lot of civic ignorance in the United States of America where people think presidents are despots and or all-powerful monarchs, and they don't realize that power truly lies in Congress. So sometimes we get overly enthusiastic over a presidential candidate when we should get more enthusiastic over the tenor and abilities of Congress as a whole to represent us. So Jackson S. brings up a very, very good point. It shows his political acumen. Here is your hat, Jackson. Cody, you can sign it. That one's for Jackson S., my man. Anyway, all right, so we're almost going to be wrapping up here. Any of you guys want a hat? It's your last chance to get it signed. It's going to be awesome. There's still going to be a link to the PayPal for those of us that are tuning in a little bit later. But any of the last questions you got or last suggestions for the Yang 2024 slogans would be funny. Join the Math Club 24. Mike Louder also says that sounds like a new segment of Modelo Tonight. So anyway,
Modelo Tonight, I love it.
Yeah, so we're actually going to. Kenneth W also says, is Andrew on TV tonight? Yes, he was. He was on CNN with Chris Cuomo, and we actually covered it live in this live stream. You can check it out. Probably I'd say about halfway to 2/3 of the way in. So anyway, it has been great hanging out with you guys. Once again, I am your host, Carden Ellis. This is my lovely wife, Brittany Ellis. Hala and Cody the Oracle has been running the chat and keeping it real here with us. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you guys smash that subscribe button. Give us a like. Please repost this if you have any forums or anywhere that they talk about Andrew Yang, or anybody has any questions about UBI. If you want to support the channel, make sure you guys check out the PayPal link below, or you hit us with the last couple of super chats in order to get a hat. We'll hang out in the feed just for a little bit, answering questions on the chat. And also making sure that we get people's addresses for hats and everything like that. If you have super chatted us and you want to get your hat, make sure that you email us your address so we can send it to you. Those hats will be going out tomorrow. This is Problem Solver Politics. See you in the next video. Fade to